Go. Good evening, Jace.
Good evening, Shawn.
Are you ready?
Oh, you bet.
All right.
We've got way too much stuff to cover.
Yeah, due to time constraints, we will not be able to basically share anything. We'll be talking in this speed and possibly faster, and we're going to hope to finish within 3 to 4 days. I am actually quite tired. I know that we are 5 minutes into this podcast, 1 minute and 9 seconds of live time, but I have actually worked on this for 4 hours today already, including starting at 5 a.m. So please enjoy. The person with the thumbs up, who is Bernard, or thumbs down, I should say. Bernard, you can take that away now. And everybody else, please thumbs up. We are going to have a good cast tonight for sure. We're going to cover all the things on the side. I say last year in Legion, and Jason and I are going to kind of avoid talking about Legion last week. I'm going to mention it briefly in the Friday Night Fights recap. But we have some special guests who we haven't seen in a while. Due to their vacation to Mount Doom and back, and we're gonna give them, we're gonna catch up with them briefly, and then we're gonna spin all things Ministravaganza. Being quite transparent, most of us are going to be reacting to a lot of the stuff based on reactions that we've already had with other people. So this isn't going to be like a full recap of all things mentioned and said in Ministravaganza, although we'll have pretty much everything mentioned. This isn't a live react to Ministravaganza as much as it is our impressions about, what we're hearing, what we're seeing, what people are saying, kind of thing. So a little bit of a different spin on that. We also are going to wrap briefly. I'm going to talk about League Season 2 of the League, wrapping, playoffs about to start, and then how to sign up for Season 3, which will start in October. I want to get going again with games. I haven't got any TTS games in a while, and the League is the best way for me to do it, and so we'll get the League running, and I know we took a little break there at the end of August. No harm, no foul. We'll get back into it right away. AMG had a few announcements. By that, I mean many. And we're just going to generally talk like what's up for Legion. Well, how is this going to impact what's coming down the track? What are our next plans, et cetera, et cetera. So like I said, the podcast, Jace, is not big enough, or is too big, I should say, for only us two. So we don't want to waylay this. We probably should invite our guests in if that's cool with you, and make sure you guys are all just as. Are you really excited for the slides? Because I'm actually tired of looking at them at this point, but hopefully you do appreciate them. But let's bring them in, and then you guys in chat, make sure you guys give them a welcome, and then also if you're in chat, make sure you sound off so we can give you guys a shout out. So here we go. We're going to bring in our Lord of the Ryan was correct. We are trending towards a Lord of the Ring podcast, but only in spirit tonight. So welcome. We have one Hobbit and one Wizard, and Jace is sort of Hobbit like in terms of height. So here we go. And I'm as tall as an Ent. So if you want to draw some parallels here. So here we go. Welcome Brian. Welcome Michael. How are you guys doing this evening?
Doing good. Can't wait to see who these awesome guests are.
These are the awesome guests. Big reveal.
Well, I'm going then.
Well, you have a stand-in proxy, which is also good. So when Michael gets tired of being here, he's got a sign to put up. And earlier in the pre-show, you guys didn't get it. It's ace material. Bryant disappeared, and in fact, he was missing on some screens. And I just told him to stop using the Ring of Power because he just was disappearing from every screen. So all the Lord of the Rings connects tonight. So we're gonna get going with the things, but I think the people and the fans will want to know. We're gonna hit you guys with the first topic. What does the last year in Legion look like for you, fellas? Like, what have you literally been doing, if anything? Wow, that was a lot. Exciting recap.
Yeah, that pretty much covers it. No, so actually the last... I played one game since I was at Shawn's, I believe it was like 4th of July last year. I've done almost no painting. Like I said, I played one game with a friend after the new rules update came out and found out that they messed up all the keywords that my armies played with, or at least the units that I liked. So aside from not having a lot of time, that kind of killed it for me.
This might be your chance in, or what we've also heard is that
Yeah.
Michael needs to make another road trip so we can get a year's worth of Legion in 5 days. So
Yeah, although I don't feel like I've missed a lot of Legion because of how much Legion we got in those 5 days. So
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's a valid point. Valid point. Brian, what about you down in the the land of the hobbits?
Well, I've been running a lot of Legion instead of playing a lot of Legion, to be honest.
Respectable.
Yes, with Oceanic League down here, and running states and nationals. We just had our nationals last weekend, and we had states, which I will see you guys next year.
Will you though? Will you? Question mark.
Yes, I will be.
I mean, will I? Referring to myself, still unclear if I have one of those two invites or not. Gonna go try again this weekend, maybe or maybe not. I'm trying. I don't even know. But anyway, yeah, I digress.
Well, if I don't see you at Worlds, I'll make a little side trip over and see you over there.
I mean, that's a fair point. Yeah, fair point.
If I've travelled that far, I might as well go a little bit further. Hey?
I don't actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't think Brian's aware of what Saskatchewan looks like in March, but we're gonna tell you it's.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. Just most beautiful place you've ever seen.
I might lose me in snow up to here.
Yes, we will. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I've been just been doing a lot of work, so my workload and personal life has sort of changed around a little bit. So it's just left me with very little spare time in between running things and work and family, work and kids. So yeah.
Nice.
Busy, but still playing in the background.
Dustin is pointing out that we've had a very warm September, the first or the warmest one in 100 years. That's really going to be applicable information come March. I'll remind everyone how warm September was. Just see how well that goes over. So yeah, looking forward to that. So just going to do quick shout outs and chat here. So Dustin is in there. We have Shawn checking in from Wisconsin. Justice is checking in. Striker. Mad Viola, Crow Servo, Shawn Death checking in. Michael's also checking in chat. We got Jake Travis checking in from Oklahoma and Bernard checking in from Ottawa. Bernard was first tonight. So, well, hopefully, good for you, Brian, to get your invite. So that's awesome. Michael, hopefully there's something that will entice you to play some Legion that will kind of go over tonight. Maybe some things to pique your interest. In fact, Michael is here because things piqued his interest, just FYI. We may or may not see him again until Christmas, but hopefully we do. But if not, we'll definitely solicit his computing skills for keeping track of giveaways. We're just going to do a quick housekeeping list, and then we're going to get right into a couple things. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Season 3 and then into all the Ministravaganza items. So look at us go. Jace, tell people where to find us if they aren't already just like right here now.
Yeah, you bet. If you're watching this later, definitely check us out on Facebook, Star Wars Legion Friday Night Fights, Twitter, or X as it's now called, at Legion_FNF. Instagram is at The Terrain Studio, as well as our Patreon, The Terrain Studio.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. We're going to talk a little bit about Patreon and Friday Night Fights right now. So if you have joined us on Friday Night Fights, check it out. I'm not actually going to do the highlight one for interest of time, but I would suggest last week I played against Anthony. It was very, very fun. It looks like it's going to go one way. The mid game's different and the end game's crazy. It's really quite good, start to finish. I enjoyed it. If you want to check it out, it was Empire versus Droids. So I was playing the Remnant list that you guys heard me talk a lot about. Anthony playing his Maul Droids, which he's like very skilled at. It was a fun overall game and had lots of shifts and twists and turns. And yeah, it was a good one, worth checking out. I won't reveal how it all goes. Do want to shout out to the folks for supporting the show. I want to give a shout out to Bernard as well, coming with another donation. Dark Slider, J-Rod joining. Shawn also on the Patreon wall. I know that this isn't actually the one that I was going to drop on this week's episode because I just noticed that Shawn is missing on here. I will put you on again, Shawn. I think you saw your name on the podcast this week, but folks, Patreon is how it makes most of this happen. So we do appreciate that and all the support you guys give to the studio. Just a reminder that we will not have a podcast this week, Friday a podcast this week. I'm getting ready for a tournament, and I got to leave Saturday morning early, so instead of having to flip the studio and get everything packed up, I'll do that on Friday. So forgive us, no Friday this week, but again, we're on that 3-week schedule, so we will take scheduled breaks here and there. And
that invite.
oh, sorry, yeah, I really hope to actually. I'm gonna try for it again for the third time. If you want to check out what's going on the Patreon, this is a weird connect, but I'm also working on something Lord of the Rings related. Working on the Shire project. It is white right now, the whole thing, and I'm hoping by the end of next week it should be in at least the brown stage and be ready for flocking before starting to work on the details. So it is very much getting there. Sculpt molds all dry. I'm just working on doing some puttying on the lines right now, and then I'm going to get into how to prep groundwork and do the flock. You guys seen me do it in a small scale tutorial. Now you're going to be able to see it applied across a big one. So if you want to check out all those videos and check out any details or get some hobby tips, go check out the Patreon, and you can subscribe any level and you get all the videos that have ever been released or ever will be. So easy one for you guys. So helps me out a lot, by the way. So let's get into a little bit, and all the guys can hear you, so you guys can chime in along the way. But this is the League Season 2 is all done. So we are ready for the playoffs. I'm not going to do a full breakdown analysis of the season. I will actually do that on the following week podcast when I kind of sort of hype up Season 3, but you guys can see kind of what we keep track of and how it all works. But the playoffs are here, and we do have the final breakdown as well as the playoff bracket for you. So there's only 4 guys that make it into the playoffs. They're going to have basically till the end of the month ish. I'll kind of speak to them if they need a bit more time. And then as soon as that's done, signups are actually going to start running as soon as this podcast is done. And then I'll get all of that rolling probably the first week of October, to be perfectly honest. So if you want to get in, it's your chance. It's fun. I'll talk a little bit about how the season's going to work here in 1 second. But here is the breakdown. I'm just going to shout out the top 10 here real quick. I'll repost this. It's on the Discord. I'll post it on the Discord, I should say. But Scythe Dog coming in first place. Justice for Life in second. The Terrain Studio in third. Canadian Bear in fourth. Shawn Death in fifth. Crow Servo in sixth. Eric in seventh. A Strange Event in eighth. Kokazula in ninth. And J-Rod coming in 10th place. So the top 4 are going to advance into the playoffs. So this is what the playoff seeding is going to look like. Unfortunately, the Terrain Studio was once again disqualified from the top 4. And so luckily, Shawn Death's going to bump up into the 4th seed. So we're going to have Scythe Dog versus Shawn Death. I will point out just briefly here that these 2 individuals constantly dodge me. And once again, they've managed to successfully dodge me. So Anthony facing Shawn Death, Justice for Life squaring off against Canadian Bear. Winner of each is going to advance, play for the final, and then that'll be the winner of Season 2. Congratulations, you win nothing other than bragging rights. And you guys will, one of you 4 will join Jake as a season winner. So, and I'm going to gun for Season 3 and see if I can make it all the way there without getting disqualified. So looking forward to that. So there you have it. Shawn Death, Scythe Dog, Justice, Canadian Bear. Congrats. You guys are top 4 playing it down for the season championship. So if you are interested in Season 3, Round 1, like I said, early October, you guys can sign up on the Discord. It's really easy. You type in or the check mark, you're in. We're going to go in pods. Here's how it's going to work this season. 6 rounds, same as before. Pods, whatever even size we need to. We'll have the upper and lower brackets based on seeding and how you finish in each round. No bans, all legal TTS units, so everything in TTS. And Jake has posted up that basically everything on tonight's show is already in there. You guys are going to get a chance to play it. So no bans, wide open every single round. 6 rounds of slugfests. It's going to be fun. We will still do the seeding, like I said, top and bottom. But if you guys want to join up, it's free. It's easy. It's a great way to get games in. It's a good way to meet new people. And it's always fun. I've had a great time every season, every round. So looking forward to that. Shawn Death saying, so I can have an alternate play for me is what I'm hearing. So that is not happening. And no coin flips, by the way. So you got to play your games. So Well, if there's no questions, panel, are you guys ready? We're gonna rock into the Ministravaganza stuff here.
Let's do it.
All right. So, news from the streets this week, and shout outs to multiple people: Striker, Canadian Bear, Jake, Pally, Justice, all for posting the news clips into the Discord. It was very helpful getting ready for the show. This week's episode, we're not really actually, I know where Pally is. He's actually on a forklift and his phone's strapped to it. Hopefully that's like OSHA safe. But we know that this episode is brought to you by Pally, but it's confirmed that Pally is nowhere near as excited about the recent updates as Justice. So I'm looking forward to all things here. So Jake is saying if a Unicard is in, it's in. So, all right, guys, Ministravaganza, it's started and it's over. It was lengthy and there was many things, and I watched almost zero of it live. I did click and see things, but I live vicariously through our Discord, as many of you probably did. So again, shout outs and props to the guys keeping us up to date on all things. Yeah, there was a lot. If you were into all AMG games, I think your weekend was full of information, surprises, and probably excitement for you if you play all the games. If you only play one game, well, then you were probably excited as well. Maybe slightly disappointed if it didn't, necessarily peak or land on your faction. But I think there might have been something for everything, something for everyone this week for sure. So we're going to get into it. Basically, everything's on either the Twitter or X on the Ministravaganza site. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end, where they've actually conveniently packaged. And by the way, there's a website. So you can go check that out. It's fairly easy to it's fairly easy to navigate. It's well laid out. So I think worth the wait. And if you go back, I'm not sure 100 episodes ago, I talked a little bit about this. I said once the website's out, I think people will just stop talking about the time that there was no website. It's functional. You can navigate it. It's well laid out. It's got some good images. It looks good. And so moving on from that dead horse. So first up, the thing that everybody, and probably the thing we're going to spend the most amount of time talking about is Cyclops.
But Shawn, you forgot all these dead horses were alive the last time I was here.
That is true. Michael's actually on the cusp of, he's like, there was going to be a website? Michael was on the threshold of website conversations. So yes. Luckily, so actually, if you didn't want to be disappointed by missing out on the website, you should have taken the Michael Hammond approach. Just go away from Legion for a while and come back. And
I got to say, the only thing that's the same since I left is the CIS unit list.
Okay, fair enough. New additions, Michael. New additions.
Yes, that's why I'm here.
That's fair. It's a cyclical approach. So, that's what wizards do. They kind of disappear for long periods of time, ride on giant eagles, and all the other things that they do. So, so Spec Ops. We're not going to spend a long time talking about it, other than the fact that I wanted to bring this one back up because Simone worked on this painting, this whole model. It's awesome. It's awesome in the finished product. It was my favorite when they revealed the kind of work in progress. It's my favorite in the end. I want to give a shout out there. There's also some really cool terrain in the back, also built in the studio. So that's also cool. It was unrelated to that, but I'm glad they used studio terrain to do that. So, so Spec Ops, just to show of hands, anyone that actually played Spec Ops? I'm going to put my hand down. That was just a demonstration. Wow, look at that guy. No, not one person. Okay, fair enough. It is not a mode for everyone. It is a mode. I am going to bring up a couple things. The document looks well laid out. It actually looks like a very, very organized structure. It's all print and play, which is great. It looks like there's a plethora of sort of missions. It looks a lot like it might be like a parallel to Skirmish, and some people are comparing it to like Kill Team, and we've heard like this is like a Shatterpoint testing ground, and all the things that we've heard. It doesn't matter. It exists. It's free. You can play it. The point I wanted to kind of bring up about this was, there you go, Canadian Bears right there. The artwork is absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So I did a splash in here because I think it's worthy shout out. I hope that this is some foreshadowing, because I'd really like to see that CIS ship in the game. We know that Legion Terrain does make that, because we have several copies of the crashed version of it, which are fantastic. But I'm hoping that some of these things demonstrated through the images are things that we can look forward to. But the print and play is pretty cool. I'll maybe just throw it to the panel. What do you guys think about print and play in general at this point?
Oh, I think I think it's good in a fashion. I think it has its pros and cons. It's good in a fashion that we've got access to something that can be changed straight away, and we can, if something's changed, we need to be reminded of it. We can just print it out on our printers or take it to the nearest. For us, it's an Officeworks. Go to and get it printed on hard card. But on the flip side of that, I love having. I would love to see a card pack once a year brought out and have that done. But I know that it takes a long time for that to get in production and come about. So it might be, if we didn't have print and play, it might be 6 months to 9 months before we actually saw a card pack that was valid. So this is the quicker fix. I think this is the better option, but I would like to see things that have been done, that have been changed in a updated card pack for future. So I can see the pros and cons in it though. So.
Right.
Yeah, I think exactly that. I like the fact that you get the print and play right away. I would like to see them, though, available to purchase as cards. I will go spend my money to buy them, but give them to me to buy when you get to it.
Jace, any
Even
thoughts
in
on
prize
that?
packs.
If it comes in a card pack, great. Other than that, I'm glad you don't have to go out and buy models you don't need. But a card pack would be great.
Yeah.
But until they do that, print and play is the much better way to do it. I'm very glad they didn't make us all go buy $100 box sets of models we already all have with the original Battle Forces.
All right. Shout out to Tana for X-Wing version 1.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
I would, to me, I think looking through the Spec Ops, because in interest of just prepping for the show, I did have a look through it, but I think that this, like a Spec Ops, like small box with, maybe the instructions or the manual printed in like a fold-out version, and then all the cards, buying it, like if you were interested in Spec Ops, then it could come in like a $24 pack or whatever. Maybe some objective tokens or whatever. I think that's quite a reasonable way to do it. Like, hey, it's here for free. If you want the version, like Brian said, I want the tangibility of that. I think you could do that. House it really nicely. The other thing you mentioned, Brian, which I think is great, and we've seen these with some of the battle forces, the other battle forces, at events or OP kits, put these in as prizes. They go like hotcakes. It will draw people out. It's like, hey, I'm going to get that, or hey, it's a bonus because I'm here. Or guys are like, I have it in the print and play, but you know what? The card version sounds better. I'm going to go play that event kind of thing. So I think that's a great way to do it. I do like that you don't have to wait.
You tell me that you wouldn't go to a comp that you were on the fence about if the prize was a pack of this Spec Ops official art cards and stuff like that. You tell me that wouldn't put you over the top just to go and get that, or just to have that, because we all know we're all collectors.
Twofold.
Doesn't matter if we're
Yes,
gonna
I
play
would.
it or
Yes,
not.
I would go. Yes, I would go because I would like the cards to, as the completionist in me. 2, I would not go because I want to have it to play Spec Ops, but I would go to get it. So the answer to your first question is yes.
Exactly. Yep.
But so I mean, that's at that point you can end. It doesn't really matter. So, and plus the retail flip on this later down the road is probably great too. So, that from that swag perspective, you guys know I'm not into swag, but I do like collecting it up and giving it away. So I can give it away in the Christmas special. There you go. So there you have it. Now all the things that we are interested mostly in. I mean, I wanted to give fair. There's a lot of people did a lot of work on this, and a lot of great artists put their effort into making this look awesome. So regardless if it's your format or not, I talk a lot about skirmish liking that, and I know people don't. But this is just, I think, worthy of shouting out based on the effort put into it. So here we go. Now we're definitely interested. Shawn earlier underestimated the fact that I would give the Geonosian release only 4 out of 5 warm hot dog water rating. I would give it a 4.7 probably simmering and then boiling over because I really think the Geonosians, one, these are awesome models. Awesome. The 7-part wings don't even scare me. I will build a lot of these for sure. We basically cut our teeth in terms of like a production build on the Geonosian board. I've wanted to go back and do it again, maybe better, maybe build in some more height dynamics into it. Now, clearly, height 3 is not even a limit because we can put that in there for sure. So I'm super excited about the release of the Geonosians. I'm glad that we got both model release, card release, and some characters to talk about. We know that there's more down the line because it's clearly not enough. And I love that they can go in the CIS faction. So, yep.
So with height 3, are you going to extend your Kashyyyk tree now to make it a 6x3 board?
Well, we're gonna go spires. We gotta move off. We gotta move off planet. So plus, I have too many PTSD triggering nightmares from Fluttercrafts, of which is going to come back tonight. And subsequently, Michael's also here because he's sick like that. Likes to bring back those hurtful memories. So go ahead, Michael. You were gonna say something.
That's what I do. I was going to point out that somebody had the foresight to build a table with over height 2 on it, as Legion was releasing, just in preparation for this. So
it's true.
Kudos.
It's true. Michael had posted in the Discord. He's got a table with over height 2. So it's a true thing. So I think there's kind of a theme in any build where I kind of am allowed to do whatever I want. Things just end up being really tall, and so I'm glad that we're catching up. Finally catching up and making these tables usable. So, and with the new climb rules, that makes even the Coach and Industries table very, very pliable in terms of moving around and things like that. So, of course, it wouldn't be a Ministravaganza if they didn't have like 2,000 paint streams, which is fine because some people are really into that. It's not my thing, but I hate painting too. So, Dallas does a fantastic job as always on the models, and I think I like this in the sense that it starts to get people thinking about models that they can't get right now, but like it starts to plant the seed. So I get the whole aspect of this for sure. I just want to actually jump back really, really quick. What did you guys think about the building in of the non-flight stand flying models element of this, a la like MCP here? So a lot of like, I don't really know what those things are coming out of their feet, I should say.
Yeah,
but like,
I don't know if they're bones or a bit of spire or
are they like
not
smoke
sure
or dust or
earlier.
Either way, what are you guys thinking about the non-flight stand flying model element of this?
I have. Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, sorry, I was just flicking back through a couple of photos, and it looks like sticks or bones. If you have a look at the picture that they had in stream, I enjoy it, but it kind of gives it a low fly instead of a. You have a look at the jet streams of some of the Mandos and stuff, and it still has that look of you're in the sky, where this doesn't look like they're high. It still looks like they're just fluttering off the ground, sort of thing, which doesn't really bother me. But yeah, I overall I like it. I think it's much better than a stand. Although time will tell whether they're going to snap or not.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about it. I like the dynamic nature it gives to the model, the posing, the stuff they do with that. I think that's great. I think to me though, it depends on where the actual cuts are on the model. Like if the foot is actually attached to whatever it's standing on, and I have a base style that I want my army to match, depending on what they've mounted it on, I may not be able to blend that in real easily with my style of bases. So I like if they, like the foot is separate from that, and you can either glue it to that piece or glue it onto something else that matches your base style to make it fit in with what you've done with the rest of your army.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, I'm going to be like 2 and 3 inch rodding my Geonosians because anything's flying, I want it to be like well off the table. just
Yep.
because I'm going to want that difference. But that being said, I'm also going to probably make the rods removable from the bases themselves so that I can actually transport them quite easily as well. Because that's the only fear that I have on almost all of the foot mounts or all these, like, you know, even the Dark Troopers. I wasn't really a fan of the explosion bases. So just trying to find a workaround to that. I think people will like not having to fiddle with the flight stands. But I actually don't mind the flight stands either. I think they're workable. I'm not opposed to this either, but I don't necessarily think I'm gonna like the, you know, barely springing off the ground look. I'm either gonna want them flying or not. So,
Yep.
Yeah, me personally. So, we're gonna come back and do a lot about bugs, for sure. But there was other couple reveals we'll kind of power through. By the way, there's like 50 screens, so we'll just power through a lot of these. So another reveal here. So the Empire Elite. I was just joking that these are stormtroopers with fur. So like they're kind of like Wookiees, but they just have like UGG boots on and fur coats. I kind of interested how they did the sort of like reveal here, but like some of them it was like, hey, these are coming out, and then really we didn't get to see a whole heck of a lot more. Like we went to this, and so same thing with the commandos that are going to come up. We like saw some painted models, but just not a lot, and not a lot of information. So Jace was talking pre-show. Well, you can make your point, Jace. What were you saying about like Ministravaganza? Like what was the thing you kind of like didn't like about the like reveal stuff?
Oh, it's a lot of show. Like they show you a lot of things. Like they showed us a lot of new units that we didn't know was coming out, but we got no information about when they're coming out, how they're coming out, and except for the fact that, you know, this basically extended to 2025, so don't expect anything soon.
Right. There is a long path. I was listening to the Fifth Trooper podcast today, this morning, and they made a really good point, and that pretty astute. So I'll credit that I heard it there, but only because I wasn't listening to the time release of when AMG was talking. But they were mentioning about the leg. So it's going to be kind of like an October till like early Q1 before there's really going to be anything for like any game. And so they were alluding, and I don't want to speculate too much on it, but that's a big window for multiple games to have no releases. So whether that's like a big build up to a massive release, whether that's a production issue, maybe it's a switchover issue, or not necessarily an issue, but maybe there's some sort of transition period going on. Maybe it's a moving facilities or producer or whatever. But that is a long time. I'm okay with the, you know, taking a break because I have to buy Disney Lorcana cards, and that's where my money is currently going for my daughter. Just saying. But it is a long period, and so this is kind of like. Well, I can just akin this to a 4-year-old. This is be like me showing her all the things that she can get when she's 6. That's not ever going to go over well with someone who's really excited and wants to get something. And so while I appreciated all the hype, I kind of want these things now. And like everybody else, I'm going to have to wait. So I get it that they were road mapping, and that's the whole premise of it. But it was a lot. So hopefully they just sort of breadcrumb us along.
Just getting a release date or two wouldn't have been that bad. Like, just at least tell us when the next thing is coming out.
Or at the very least, to keep us interested, which we will be generally, kind of breadcrumb us along, right? Like, give us some stat reveals, give us a chance to, like, I know that they don't necessarily want other platforms to be, like, you know, people playing the game and kind of, because there's that inherent risk of, like, maybe a lot of people play this unit, and maybe it's just not that good, like, from a gameplay perspective, and maybe there's a lot of opinions that come out and then people aren't necessarily as hyped by it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me that I think that could be a reality. What do you guys think about that? Is there an inherent fear of like putting stuff out, putting their stats out, and then not having them come out for a long time?
I did. So I missed the timeline thing as well. So did they say that there isn't actually anything coming out until early next year, or first quarter next year?
So
or
here's
did
what
they
they
say most of this stuff.
So here's what they said in the recap. I'm just on the site right now. So it was basically like they did some Geonosian warriors, basically spoiled that, and the cards. Fifth brother and seventh sister, they did the card reveal for that. The commandos, they confirmed they're on their way. Range troopers on the way. Crab Droid, well in the future, far future they call it. Rebel Saboteurs, far future. Then hard plastic resculpting is going to be replacing things, and they're talking about that dropping in stores in 2025. And then there was a quarter release. I think they had mentioned about the Geonosians coming, but I feel like, and I could be wrong on the date, and chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong because there's probably somebody in there, but I think not till like early quarter 1. So,
okay, because I'm just off how they tend to release things and how they tend to go when if they give cards and stats and things like that, it's usually the next one's out, and it's usually very soon. I noticed they didn't do Bad Batch.
Yeah, that was very interesting. That there was no Bad Batch.
We didn't get any Bad Batch, but we got Bad Batch info in March, and they said that it was supposed to come out towards the end of this year.
Right, and there was nothing in relation to that.
Yeah, throwing conspiracy theory out here, does that mean that Bad Batch, they haven't added this in because Bad Batch is one of the first ones that's actually going to come out, and they've kept this because they've already said.
Well, you would think that there would be some more on it. So they said they mentioned Commandos coming out about the same time. I'm not sure what Jake's referring to in the same time, but Jake just maybe confirming that quarter 1 seems to be the release, the next release time. Again, we can't confirm that because I don't see that information anywhere, but I believe that's. I was a bit disappointed that there was no Bad Batch. Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe you're right, Brian. Maybe they said, "Hey, we already done this. This is old news at this point," but we didn't get any stats or anything on that. So this might have been this might have been the opportunity to do that, or maybe it's going to be slightly delayed. So I'm not 100% sure. But either way,
a Bad Batch somewhere through it. There was a Bad Batch photo, or a Bad Batch picture.
Adepticon, I think, is where that came out at the in-flight.
Yeah, it was Adepticon.
The report. Something recently.
Okay, maybe. Track that down.
Maybe I'm getting mixed up with a third-party post.
Either way, we're gamers, and when we see things, we want them now. That's the nature of it. So we'll all wait, and then some things are more excited. But moving into the things we don't have to wait for, and again. The interest in, I guess the beauty in the battle forces. So here we go. We'll start the hype train right now for Michael because he's going to be building up here. Justice is already just going crazy down here. They said all the releases will be within 4 to 6 months until they showed us the Crab Droid. So 4 to 6 months. So yeah, I think that is reasonable to say that we are talking quarter 1. So. But if it's 4 to 6 months, then that's nothing for the rest of the year at this stage. So
does that also mean Bad Batch is outside 6 months since they didn't show us it again?
Yeah, hard to say. Not really sure. But like I said, I'm hoping that there will be some breadcrumbs along the way so we can get some kind of clarity on that. So, but maybe the delay that's happening right now wasn't intended to be a delay, and maybe that's where Bad Batch was supposed to drop. That would coincide with what you were thinking, Brian.
It would make a lot of sense.
There you go. Within 4 to 6 months. So, yeah. So you're looking at end of the year. September, October, November, December, end of the year. Yeah, beginning of next year.
Yeah. So there seems to be a definable gap in there, but it is all game systems, and so not just Legion. So that's kind of strange, but either way, we'll get things when we get things. So not what the main premise of Ministravaganza. It was about the reveal and not about the timelines, I guess. So much as it was about all the cool stuff coming out. So they said, okay, there you go. So Bad Batch will come alongside the clone commandos whenever that happens. So. In the drops for this, and I'm just going to zoom in because this image is much better, we got another battle force, the Wookiee Defenders, here. So obviously, like other battle forces, you got some unique or special rules. You have a force organization that breaks traditional force org, and then you have specific rank requirements, and then you have the skirmish requirements. So we're going to kind of go in and have a look at this and get some thoughts on this. So. Here it is. I'll break down the special rules. Jace, you want to do the units and the ranks?
You bet.
All right, so this is all the information you're going to need for the Galactic Republic Army that's going to play as the Wookiee Defenders Battle Force. The Wookiee Defender Battle Force is part of the Galactic Republic faction. The following units count as core options for the purposes of army building. So this will be just building, and then you'll still use the appropriate designated token during gameplay. And that will be Wookiee Warriors Noble Fighters. Your army must include at least 3 Wookiee Warrior troop units, and the first time a miniature in each Wookiee Trooper unit is defeated each round, that unit may make a Speed 1 move. Wookiees with extra moves feels real good, and maybe a small consolation prize to losing, and this is a each round. So times that by the number of units that you have and potentially get defeated. That's a lot of models that are coming at you like a freight train, a free freight train at that. So, all right, Jace, how do you build this army out?
So you are able to take as your commanders Yoda, Chewie, or the Wookiee Chieftain. You can take core the Wookiees, as we said before. You can also take 0 to 2 Phase 2s. Special Forces, you can take 0 to 1 ARC Troopers. No strike teams allowed, though, like every other battle force. We hate strike teams. And you can take Wookiee Warriors as Special Forces. This could be either the Noble Fighters or the Kashyyyk Defenders, which are the shooty Wooks. Support, you can take 0 to 1 Bark Speeders and Fluttercrafts. And then heavies, 0 to 1 ISPs, 0 to 1 Saber Tanks. And then there's no unique upgrades allowed.
Right. That's probably fine. Do you even have points for unique upgrades or upgrades at all?
Just run 10 Wookiee units all naked.
Yeah, and we'll let Bryant and Michael react to this. We're not going to list build tonight, but because obviously with not a lot of units coming out, we'll have time to kind of speculate and build and test and sort of theory craft along the way. So I was thinking maybe we should invite, not next week because we don't have a podcast, but the following Tuesday. I think Jake and Justice will extend an invitation if you guys want to bring some of your theory crafted walking carpet lists. I think that'd be really fun to start theory crafting with people who are going to really starting to speculate how to run this. But Michael, as a Fluttercraft player, and Bryant as well, you can chime in. What are you thinking about the Battle Force configuration here?
So first of all, I'm going to say I love this. I don't know if anybody remembers I think it was a Christmas episode when it was asked, what do we want for Legion in the next year? And I said, give me my Wookiee Battle Force. And I got a little bit of pushback on that at the time, but it's here now, and everybody seems happy about it. Well, except for Shawn, because he's going to see lots of flutters. Yeah, you're welcome. But no, I think it's overall great. I did try briefly to put a couple of lists together, and what I've found is if you start using any upgrades, it's real hard to get more than 8 units in the list, unless you're using the clones and stuff. But we're here for the Wookiees, so get rid of that stuff. Just go Wookiees. But
imagine medics with the Wookiee trooper unit dying free move.
No, this is about the Wookiees. I don't care. Just give me the Wookiees. This is about fun and Shawn's PTSD, not about winning.
Yeah, one more outburst like that, Jason, you're out of here.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I found is because you get those 8 acts and you've got like 55 points left in the list, you put upgrades on everything that you normally wouldn't. So they're pretty well kitted out. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play. I'm excited to play it. Obviously, it's what I've been waiting for. So here we go.
There you go.
I think some of these lists have massive amounts of wounds. Like the wounds wound count on some of these lists that you're going to be able to do is huge.
Yeah, and I think big dice pools will be obviously the bane of some Wookiees, but bringing them in force and in mass, you may not have enough guns. Somebody pointed out, free moves. I think it was Mad Viola was saying, free moves for units that want to give you hugs seems real good. So yeah, you'll drop some, but probably some will reach you, and it will be a bad day when they do. So. Not to mention,
I'm with
copters.
I'm with Canadian Bear. I want that 4th flutter. That would have made it just perfect.
I mean, who has 4 Fluttercrafts? First off,
I've got 3. So
who can transport 4
But
Fluttercrafts?
here's
I
the
probably
thing:
could.
you can take 4 special forces, which means 4 units of shooty Wooks.
Yep.
Why charge at them when you can just gunline with Wookiees?
I mean, true. I mean, I think Jake pointed out
With
that
Pierce and
I
Sharpshooter.
think Jake made like an 8 act all Pierce list. I think it was there. So
Yeah.
that also feels really bad.
That's fun.
Yeah, the clone matchup would feel bad. Other things maybe care a little less, but yeah, I think this was what people were wanting to do. I think we talked about this when we were building the Kashyyyk table. Was like, we just need to have all Wookiees on this table. Like a big Wookiee force would be ideal. And yeah, it's several months later, but it's here. And like I said, just like the website, you can stop talking about it because now you can do it. So moving on to the next thing to complain about. So,
well, my only
scale
complaint about
sucks
this
now.
is, yeah, that. But where's my Grand Army list for what I can take? So
Grand Army isn't even in like the new rule book. It's
isn't it?
It's not, when they updated the rule book, the Grand Army rules disappeared.
oh, wow. And then if you put your magic ring on, Bryant, I guess I'll be solo. So it'll be fine. So yeah,
It's gonna get you, Jace.
90 wounds to chew through. That feels man. Who would do such a thing? So. All right. Well, like I said, we're gonna kind of high level overview. Have live reacts to this. We got about 107 screens left to push through. How are we doing? 50 minutes. We're doing all right. We'd be remiss if we moved on too fast and didn't talk about this new Fluttercraft profile. So, Jace, break this down for us. What do we got to look forward to here?
So it's basically the exact same as the original Fluttercraft. Same surge chart, same upgrade slots, same single weapon. Speeder 2, reposition, immune blast, melee, range 1, cover 2, all the same things. It's got 2 things. 1, special issue Wookiee Defenders, so it can only be taken in the battle force. The main thing is attack run. At the start of this unit's activation, it may choose to increase or decrease its speed by 1 till the end of the activation. And it costs 2 more points than the original Fluttercraft does. So you definitely want to take this one.
Okay, first off, 57 points, awkward. Just
yeah.
58, 56, just the awkwardness of 57. But yeah, there's probably some logic, and somebody probably just posting, be like, wait till I put this number on. This will send some people over the edge. Man, what do you think, Michael? Fluttercraft's going like fast.
Speed 3 bomb.
Yeah, so I think that's, we talked about this before the cast, but the ability to go 3, so 3 speed 3 moves with that huge base, you are covering some ground in a hurry, but not to underestimate the ability to decrease the speed to 1 the first round or 2 of the game when you're trying to keep them out of range. Just kind of play that slow game until you're ready to just shove everything in when your melee Wookiees start getting close, and now you've got 5 units of melee in your face, and those Fluttercrafts come charging in at speed 3. Yeah, Shawn's going to be under his desk here pretty soon.
Can I just point out that my classic tactic with Becky and Remnant is to put her in the far back corner, but I'm pretty sure that rollout with the new Fluttercrafts, she won't even be safe. Like, it's gonna be really, really bad. So, but you made another good point. I'm not sure I think it was both Michael talking about one particular tactic and then Jace as well. But I think you guys should mention around everyone wants to go fast, of course, but what about slowing down to speed 1?
Yeah, I think, well, the scenario I talked about was the beginning of the game, and that's one thing where I did play the Flutters a lot. I charged them in too early a couple of games, and I should have slow rolled them just a little bit, and having that speed 1 on there makes that easier to do, where I can just take the compulsory to the side, do a pivot, and I'm not that much further ahead, and kind of just shift it out of the way a little bit, and then I can wait to time that when I want it to. I don't have to worry about that extra movement on there, which may not seem like a lot, but when you're trying to keep distance, all those things matter. And then speed up, hit the gas real quick when you need to. And I'll let Jace talk about his scenario, what he was going for.
Yeah, so I prefer to run the Fluttercrafts with the guns, because I like the Pierce 1 bowcaster on the back with the 4 dice. and being able to just use a speed 1 compulsory to just reposition that back arc and then just aim shoot while not having to worry about flying out of range every turn is amazing. Because even with speed 2, that big base is so fast.
Well, I was going to add this as well. This is just one thing that I've kind of learned from vehicles is often formation and predictive movements are really important. The ability to not only, because it's at the start, so you could have a world where you're speeding one up, you're slowing one down, and using one at the regular speed. So there's really an ability where instead of all that pre-planning where everything's moving kind of in unison at the same speed, now you have the ability to, even if you draw things kind of out of sequence, you now have the ability to make a few other moves or open a couple other options based on the fact that you have a bit more speed to work with. And I think that's another really important, especially in like the 2-3 Fluttercraft builds. So yeah, I think there's a.
So I think
bring him in a formation.
Absolutely.
Instead of all in a line, just bring them in a formation. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing I was thinking about there when you started talking about that, Shawn, is people who've played X-Wing where you have the different curve templates, different lengths.
Yep.
You can start them in a line and kind of swing in to flank together by using those 3 different range movements.
Yeah, hence that was the line of thinking there, and I think that's really important, especially when you're trying to consider maybe blocking or just stuffing up areas. When you're forced to go a particular speed, sometimes that's not a possibility. Flying out one and seeing where that lands, and then knowing kind of what real estate is left, and then having the ability to choose what the next one does, I think that really makes flying the Fluttercrafts in not only formation but really actually strategic placements, I think are really impacted by that. So
yep. One more thing to pile on. I know you want to get going, but I think it was Anthony when I played on TTS in the league. He managed to set E-webs between a couple of pieces of terrain that they couldn't land on, and having that ability to change your movement gives you a little more flexibility there too when you're trying to move around. Because with the speed 2, I just couldn't fit in where I needed to and fly over stuff to get the overrun. Yeah. So having that flexibility, you can either land on the pieces you need to or just fly over further and get through some of those traps.
Yeah, for sure. I think the ability to choose when you activate is really going to change the calculus for people trying to play against flutters. It's not going to be necessarily as predictable, even when you're trying to do your own placements for blocking, etc. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. So all right, on the topic of interesting and battle forces, we got another one. Probably some interest in here for many of us, and more rules and potentially more B1 shenanigans. So we have another battle force. This is the experimental droids here. Again, we'll break it down in the same fashion. Jace, I'll take the rules. You do the units, and then we'll throw it over to Bryant first, maybe, and then Michael in terms of live reacts, and then we'll get into a few of the units that come in this one. I think we got 2 units revealed, or cards to talk about. So the special rules for this is that an experimental battle droid force is part of the Separatist Alliance. No problems there. The following units count as core. Just wait for it. I'm waiting for it. Here we go. Magna Guard. And that is insane. For many reasons.
But it has to be the special Magna Guard. It can't be normal Magna Guard.
Yeah, so we're not talking full. That would just be broken. But I would also be fine to play it.
I would be.
If it was the broken version, I'd be fine. I wouldn't be shouting too loud about it. However, Magna Guard are still cool, and we'll look at the prototype assassin droid. So that's the new Magna Guard, I guess, subtype. So at the start of the activation phase, choose up to 1 of your commander units. If you do, put 3 surge tokens on that unit's card. Once during its activation, friendly Special Forces core or supports unit that have AI keyword may perform a free action and to spend a surge token on the chosen commander. If it's at range 3, if it's at range 3. If it does so, choose one of the following. So here's what you're basically going to be able to do. Increase their speed by 1 during their next move action this turn. Gain 1 aim token or a dodge. Add 1 black die and 1 white die to their attack pool during their attack. Notice that does not say specific range or melee, so it could be either. And or remove up to 2 suppressions. So maybe situationally that one might be like the savior. But not probably the default one. But that's pretty good. You have a lot of versatility in what you can do. So I think you can do that 3 times a turn, because you're just removing.
Yep, 3 times a turn, three different units.
I guess three different units can do that. So minus a heavy, no heavy option there. All right, Jason, what kind of units can you take?
Yeah, so they have the exact same force building as a normal list, except no operatives, because you're not allowed any in this one. But for your commanders, you can take a super tactical droid, which could be any of the 3, or a T-Series tactical droid. Core, you can take 0 to 2 B1 battle droids and 0 to 2 B2 battle droids. Special forces, you can take commando droids, again, no strike teams, and Magna Guard, but they have to be the prototypes. Support, you can take droidicas, and then the heavy, you can take the Persuader droid tank, so the snail tank, but it has to be the prototype tank.
Okay, can I just
and then
say
no
this,
unique upgrades allowed.
I've never actually been able to say this once before, but stop the presses. Shawn Death has just revealed that in the form ruling today, surge tokens carry over to the next round.
What? Is it because they're on the card, not the table, and you don't wipe the...
What?
That's... Okay,
That's a fair call. It doesn't say remove them at the end of the round, does it? So...
Yeah, because you remove all green tokens on table.
So like turn
That's
5,
wild.
6, I may be able to do this with, or like every one of my units on every single activation. That seems very strong. Okay, I love how there's form rulings on things that like already just came out, which is cool. I don't know if that was the intent. I love how that's been ruled. But yeah, so they act like cash. Okay, that makes that specific special rule really strong. Really, really strong. Bobster coming in with, okay, maybe this battle force may be not half hot trash. Nothing like hot takes on hot takes. I like it. Well, that's interesting. Really interesting. That really ups the versatility. Not to mention the severity of losing your commanders. Now, that being said, I guess you'd never lose this ability because it would just keep transferring from the token, so you would eventually keep assigning a commander. But really, really good. So super tax.
So turn 1 and 2 slow roll and just bank it up, and then turns 3 and 4 you can spend like 6 to 9 each.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like bolster is, you're gonna have like, obviously you're able to token generate like a Kalani who's kicking out like a 2 dodges, 2 aims, sitting with the surge tokens, and then potentially boosting, another aim, another and/or dodge onto units.
You can.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like it. There's no way to add more than the 3 tokens a turn.
No.
Like,
what I'm saying is Kalani's kicking out a dodge and an aim onto a unit. And then they could then spend the surge to gain another aim or dodge. You could be running aggressive tactics on Kalani, so then units could have a surge token, up to 2 aims, a dodge. Like there's the token generation with this is and especially
pretty crazy.
Especially if you can stack those surges, because maybe on a turn where you got 6 or 7 units out there, you're like, all right, I'm spending all my surge tokens. Everybody's getting an aim this round, or there's lots of potential. So
my favorite thing here with this is speed 2 droidicas with the shield still up.
Speed 2 droidicas. Speed 2 droidicas. That is something that they've always wanted, and now they potentially have. And not only that, but like every turn for several turns if you really wanted to. So,
and then once they get there, you just spend all 3 every turn and just be like, okay, you all get a free aim. You all get a free aim. You all get a free aim.
All right, Michael Bryant, feel free to chime in and or comment on the next screen here that's up. So this is the Persuader tank here.
Oh, keep it going. I'll give Bryant the first go.
All right.
Okay. I found I was having a look through this earlier on. This is this morning's actually the first time I've had a chance to go through it. But I found the Persuader tank losing its what did it lose? Let me go back to what it had.
It loses transport.
Transport. That's
transport.
Losing transport was interesting. That like one of its main things in the show was in the movie was that it was carrying things, carrying droids over the water. I found that being a prototype and being one that was supposed to be with Kashyyyk was like alongside Kashyyyk that they took that off. I found that interesting. Just as a
command node though is not half bad.
Yes.
Command node is nice. Also, the increase in arsenal.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Exactly. What,
However, the other thing that is very, I think, very rough for this is it losed its surge to hit.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that.
They up the firepower with arsenal, but they remove surge to hit.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you're going to be over reliant on the big dice pools now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What there's.
And they removed critical 1 on the heavy repeaters and impact 1 on the ion cannons.
The impact on the ion cannon does hurt.
Yeah. Now you need a natty crit.
It's gonna be. And they do have, because of the type of the base, they've got a fairly wide frame with their fairly wide arc with their fixed front. But everything being fixed front is going to it may hinder them a little bit on where they're going to be pointing, like where they're going to have to. Depending, it's going to be very terrain dependent. There's all of their weapons are all fixed front. So all their heavies, correct me if I'm wrong, but their armor piercing, their
it's got no
bunker
turret, so
their high energy.
Yeah, all the shells are fixed front.
Yeah, so I think that's going to hinder them in certain situations. If you get up close, so to counterbalance their such heavy hitting, you're going to have to get up into the sides, and obviously you're going to want to get into the sides, having weak points. But yeah, I think that's going to be the counterbalance to these guys.
Oh, it lost. No, Combi Captain's got repositioned.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't have to take a heavy in the battle force, so it just confirmed there. So it's
no,
right. So I think there might be other.
I don't think you do, because to be honest, like it's the same price as the original one, and I think it would be it's great as a gunboat tank, except that you just lost everything that helped it be a gunboat, like surge to hit and critical and impact, just for the ability to throw a extra red and a black when you get to range 2.
Right. I think that I can see the wheels turning in Shawn's head as he thinks about Battle Force. I am. But mostly about Geonosians. I think you might be just taking this to do some other things. Like, so Shawn was talking about taking the bunker buster. So you might be using this to sort of jam into your opponent, right? So, because I mean, if you're just putting folks in front of you and you have that blast weapon on board and you're chucking just a dice pool with, what'll have 3 red and 5 black, 2 white every single time. Maybe you can have some aims. Maybe you back it up by a Palaanian and you just have more aims on the units. Maybe you have a link targeting array on this where it's just like getting orders. I think the command node is not something to be scoffed at. Like I think that's the equivalent of a direct and or a free HQ uplink that you're not refreshing every turn. So I think there is value in it. I think you're just operating this differently than the other one, and we've seen this before, right? Where you just have to rethink the use of a vehicle based on some of the changes and or a unit, right? So when Wookiees lost scale, people still found, and it sounds, I didn't hear really anybody when that came out. They're like, oh, but they don't have scale, we can't play them. Now they have just a different way to operate. They're getting shot and moving forward, and so I think this one is just going to be a push forward, and instead of the units being on it, they're going to be behind it. But not to forget, those surge tokens, one of the key things in that special rules is that you can move units, if I remember seeing that correctly, increase their speed by 1 during their next move action. So units can be moving fast. No, not on a heavy. I'm talking about everything keeping up with the heavy.
Oh, everything
that much faster, right? So that's just just a different way to approach. So and the way vehicles work now and being line of sight blockers, I think there's still inherent value in having a snail go up and do a skid slide sideways and say, hey, you can't see any of my army, and you got to get through this 11 points of armor still to get me.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the bigger issue is that the main thing that they added to that to make it, compare in the comparable price to everything they lost was the command node, and you are required to take a commander of which both have direct, which is just inherently a better version of command node and much cheaper.
Right.
Yeah, and you do also have to take a protocol, so this tank is minimum 148 points.
Yeah.
And then you'll want to use the shells, so you're building it out to be pricey-ish.
I think you don't have to run the shells as well, though. Like, I think you can still build it out for just a really good direct unit. It is still 11 points of armor. Yes, it's backed by white dice with Surge. Yeah. It's not terrible, but it is still 11 points of armor. And getting through this, I don't know if it's like a huge threat where it's going to focus a lot of fire on it. And at the same time, I think if you're not dealing with it, it's inherently benefiting the CIS player because of all the benefits that it brings. So I think it's going to fall into an okay place, to be perfectly honest.
Do you think they added command node as one of those choices because the number of B1s has been dropped? So
that's the thing too.
For a separatist army is about controlling your whole army sort of thing and having AI, and so this sort of adds to the loss of B1s and being able to coordinate, and now you're sort of it's picking up a little bit of that slack.
I think you have a little bit of a springboard effect off this as well. This is something that can be jammed in there, and if you have other units that you want to kind of jam out of your command bubble and or B1 chain, I think you still have the ability to jump off this at a pretty reasonable rate and be projected forward. So I think that again, that just gives you that inherent droid control that you're looking for without having to take upgrades or without sacrificing maybe a more smushy unit that you're investing points in. So yeah, I'm not super disappointed with this. I think the Arsenal 3 makes it worthwhile bringing the weapons, no question there. And I think if you're going to get this, if you're going to find yourself issuing this orders, and we haven't really talked about any of the the command cards and how they can all influence that, but that we're kind of speaking in a vacuum. But I still think the unit's viable and worth taking. So even though it might be a slightly different platform than the previous one. On the topic,
I gotta step away for a minute.
Sure. Yep. No worries.
I gotta step away for a minute while you talk about this.
Sure.
It's a pretty heavy range 2 weapon platform.
It is absolutely, and if you add the bunker buster on it, it's taking away that cover is not bad, right? Because having to go into cover with it might feel bad, but no cover, the dice pool's decent enough, and I think you probably are reasonably without aims, probably pumping four hits almost every time. Yeah, with aims maybe a bit more.
And scatter.
Yeah, it's true.
Add that scatter and being able to put that out, like in your bunker buster. If you've got blast, cycle, scatter, you add that, and then being able to put things out. Move that unit out so other units can come in and finish up what you've weakened up if you haven't already taken it out with that sort of dice pool.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree there. So, and maybe putting in a potential charge range for units like the Magna Guards here. So 60-point Magna Guards, AI move dodge, charge, immune pierce melee, which is great, one of the best effects of a Magna Guard period. Unhindered, which is also super awesome, and a couple things I guess where they sort of drop down, but again point wise and maybe the ability to get them in at a cheaper cost is a net benefit. 1 health on these guys and one courage, so certainly some losses there. They do come at a base unit of 4 though, so not 3, and then still the ability to add a heavy. So, a 5 health unit, as opposed to, typically like an 8 health unit, but 60 points versus, I'm not sure if anybody's got the calculator there, but what did,
72.
What were they before? 72?
72 was the,
gotcha.
Yeah, they're 72 base now.
Yeah. 72, 72, and that's without a heavy, right?
For a 3, that's without a heavy, yeah.
So you're getting a 60-point unit for 4 health versus a 72-point unit with, thanks Shawn in chat, versus a 60-point unit. So And how many of these can you take again? Just looking back here, you can take may include up to 3.
I think 6, right?
Right, because they're core choices. So 3 to 6 core.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So
So you could take 6 of them theoretically.
6 of them's not that bad. 6 of them at 360.
You can take each army must. Oh no, I'm looking at skirmish diary.
Yeah.
Take that back.
Yeah, no worries. So not bad. 6 of those might be something there if you have 6 Magna Guard units, boxes that is. So, but spamming them out, I mean, they're just stronger core. I mean, this is red dice save core in a droid force.
Yeah.
Something unheard of for sure. And again, operating in that 1 to 2 band, I think I see where the snail kind of fits in, and maybe you're just playing this as a little bit more of an up close. Also being able to move 3 times with the sorry, not 3 times, but increasing your speed to 3 with the Magna Guard's pretty cool. And in hostage exchange, because they are counted as a core, I think they still count as a core for hostage, because they're treated as that for the purposes of army building, but they do have the special forces token. So I'd have to, I guess, seek clarity on that. But if they were,
I know if you look at the rules again, I think the Wookiees, the Noble Defenders said for the purposes of army building and command cards.
and command cards, perfect.
Or objective card, not command cards, objective. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
And
so
battle cards, yeah.
Okay, let me just
battle cards. That's what it was.
Let me just make sure that says that on here. So
following unit counts as a core unit for the purpose of army building and battle cards.
Okay, fantastic. So if that is the case, effectively, yes, they would reduce their speed for hostage, but you do have that ability to use that surge token to increase their speed. So I believe you should be able to get them to be making at least 1 speed to 2 move as a hostage carrier. So that's not too bad.
Yep.
Just that situational type piece there. So I can see a world where, I mean, Magna Guards are just fun. Yeah, they're not as scary as the full nuts and bolts of the true Magna Guard, but multiple don't feel bad either, and their dice pool's pretty decent. Throwing that 6 dice at range 2 and melee to boot. So, and the 4 is kind of an interesting build. This one doesn't necessarily scream to me that I have to add a heavy to every single one of them. Although 6 rockets wouldn't be terrible either.
Yeah,
it's the best rocket in the game, so 6 of them seems like it would be a good choice. But
yeah,
I haven't played with any list or points, so I'm kind of theory crafting all the thing. But it's a pretty versatile rocket. It's not just for impact.
94 points.
Right. How many are there? 24
points for a
Okay.
They're 34. The rockets are 34, so that'd be a 94 5-point rocket.
Right. It does lose a little bit of value because you are adding a 34.1 health unit as opposed to adding a 34.2 health unit. That's why I'm saying I'm not necessarily sure that I'm sold on adding a heavy to every single one. So 5 rockets, 3 droidicas, and a commander will fit. Okay, cool. Thanks, Jake. So true, Bobster, the no guardian. But I don't think that this list again is maybe fully designed to be that insulate commander type approach with the Magna Guard. This might still be a little bit more of an up-in-your-face kind of Magna Guard unit, or army. So remains to be seen. Like I said, I haven't played it, and I think we're all speculating, but just previewing the units. So, fair enough. Shawn pointing out that you do have to take 1 B2 as requirement here, but a B2 Ha's 95 points. I don't think you're found wanting with a B2 Ha either. And in fact, maybe a little bit of column A and column B wouldn't be too bad. I mean, the B2 Ha is a beefy unit that has a lot of versatility in the game too. So, but can't beat those rockets. They're excellent. So, all right, fellas, you want to press on? We'll get hit another quick one here. We got the Clone War Commandos. So again, another secretive reveal here. A 4-unit box. That's it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm hoping the price point isn't equivalent to more expensive ones, or maybe they just come with a lot of kit options. But there they are painted in the flesh. I know a lot of people are super excited about this. I look at this and be like, oh, more clone troopers. So I'm sure they're awesome.
How dare you?
lots of things. I know people are like going crazy with the clips and the memes and the like losing their mind. Justice looking squarely at you. But this is what I said at the start, right? Ministravaganza probably had something for everybody and maybe more things for others. And maybe you were excited about one particular element, but I mean, I'm not a big clone player. So 4 units for $50. I don't know if that's true, but Heresy, Bobster may be referring to what I'm saying, or Ryan. I mean, it would be applicable to everything Ryan says, but I'm not super excited about them. But what about you guys? Care at all? Michael doesn't have enough fur on this for Michael to be. That would be my speculation. So
No fur.
I'm
no
excited.
I'm a fan.
you're a fan, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm a fan of the old book series. So and the old game. So I love it from a fan point of view. I'm not a clone player, so I'll get them because yeah, it's me and I collect them and I've got all the units that can play. But for the game, I'm sort of going for the price range. Yeah, that's we're gonna look at, if it's 50 for you guys, we're gonna look at for $69 $79 and that's if it's 50 US, we're going to be looking at that sort of price range, and that's like that for a 4 mini unit. Yeah, that's crazy.
Right.
That's starting to get on the ridiculous side of things, in my view. It was the same with the
Dark Troopers.
The Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
Dark Troopers here are a recommended retail, just a hair under 100. Yeah. Yep.
Good unit though.
Yep. Yeah, good unit, but like $100 for 5 minis, or is it 6 minis in the Dark Troopers?
I think it's six in the
minis.
dark.
Yeah.
6.
Because you get the
six.
three
So
base, and then you
Actually,
get
it's 7. It's 7, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Because it's
you get
3 base plus an
the
extra plus 2 heavy.
rocket, and then the assault cannon. Yeah.
Yeah, plus 3 heavies.
And
so
I haven't heard
7
anything
minis.
on the prices yet.
Right.
Even our wholesalers don't have prices on or listings for any of these yet. So, so I don't know. But yeah, if they're getting up to that price, they're starting to. Sorry guys, settle down, but you're not GW.
I'm hoping that there's something special about this, and maybe they have a very similar. Maybe they get the dual action, or maybe their value in an army will somewhat justify maybe the price point, or why there's only 4 models in the unit. So they looked really beefy.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They looked really beefy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they have command cards of some sort, because that's their background. They're a unit that can go off by themselves, do their own commands, and do stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if they bring something special. I'd be shocked if there aren't some more poses as well.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Shawn Duster stole my thunder, but I was going to point out that the worst part about this particular reveal in the stream was that it was not another Empire Battle Force. I just wanted to point that out. So I felt like we were probably due for another Empire Battle Force at this point. So no, like I said, I think a lot of people were super excited. So this drop was obviously super, super popular. I only partially.
The fact you're getting a named one too is good.
Yeah, and I think that it was
getting
very
Delta
exciting for
good.
clone players. So yeah, but we have kind of taken on this anti-clone vibe, so it's okay. So. All right, speaking of anti-clone, these guys don't like them either. The Geonosian Warriors are here. The bugs, we sort of talked about them at the start. This is in a box, so this makes me super excited that these look like they're like ready to come out in 4 to 6 months. But I'll be definitely very excited.
January 1st, post-Christmas.
Now, interesting, they don't appear to be their own faction. Slight sad face, because it would be cool to just have another faction, but
they'll give them a battle force when they release.
Most likely, yeah, most likely. So,
the Ministravaganza a year from now.
Yeah, fair enough.
There you go.
But and we only partially kid AMG. We're just poking fun because It's just what we do kind of sometimes at each other and mostly everybody else. But they are they are part of the CIS faction, which is cool. So you can mix like bugs and B1s. And like if you're just getting into Legion, because we don't know how difficult these are to put together, but they look like they have some spindly parts. Let's be honest. So if you're just getting into Legion, like 6 months, 4 to 6
don't
months
start
from
CIS. It's the worst one to put together.
And
You got B1s, you got
Get back to
Geonosians.
Stormtroopers.
and someone gives you the PTS starter kit that is B1s and Geonosian warriors, you're not welcome. You're just not welcome. You know where you need to start? If you're just getting into Legion, just give people these, because these look like they have about 3 pieces, and they look like they're like marshmallow men to me. I don't know why that just... Everything's so round and bulbous, and it just looks so easy to assemble. And then other people are going to be trying to put these together. Some wings go up and down. I know for a fact you're going to have people with wings on upside down backwards, 6 wings on others, 2 on some. It's just going to be a mess. It's an
And that's just Shawn.
And you go back to the commandos,
And that's
then
just...
you're going to have to put 2 of the Geonosians together to get the same points as the 4-unit commandos.
100%.
Here, you have to put all of these 14 models together to get the same points as these 4.
Yeah. But if you do manage
But I will
to
say-
assemble... Go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you do put together a squad of B1s and a squad of these, everything else is going to be easy from that point.
100. Yes, fully committed. That statement stands correct as 100% correct. I would also say too, if you get them to look like the box, they are going to be cool because there's super dynamic poses there. There's not a lot of redundancy or repeat here. They do look really, really cool. Some of the coolest stuff that has come out, and I know that there's lots of other cool stuff, but I've been waiting for these, so partially I'm jaded the fact that I've been waiting. But I also think they did a good job on these. So let's dive into the Geonosian warriors here a little bit. I think who's in the background? Is that me in the background? Why is that? I gotta go away. There we go. I can see my shadow in the background there. So I just had to like move my head to see if that was me or Jace. But all right, so I'll break it down, then you guys can give us the your hot takes on this. So obviously CIS faction, you get 4 in the core base unit. 45 points. They can add a heavy and a personnel. Jump 3 free action. Scale. Not as cool as it, but jump 3 seems to mitigate any of that. Death from above. New keyword. First time we've seen it. It reminds me of old Battletech days when I hear death from above. When this unit attacks, it ignores cover if its unit leader is overlapping a piece of non-area terrain of greater height than any terrain the defending unit leader is overlapping. I think this breaks down to if you're higher than and touching something, you're going to be able to shoot at somebody who's also in something. So basically, I think if you're higher, you're good. Hence, kind of coupling with the jump 3. And then weighed down. I talked to some people at Adepticon, and I was sort of speculating all around how this might be. It's not quite the way that I was thinking, but I'm super happy that they tied this mechanic in. So while this unit has a claimed objective token, it cannot use the jump keyword. And I think that's really, really cool. They are white dice. They are 1 health, 1 courage to be expected. They do surge on defense, so not bad. Not as bad as B1s. They do have a black in melee, which is pretty cool, and just a sonic blasters range 1 to 2, but I think they probably make up for the distance fairly quickly in their ability to both have a free jump and speed too. So, all right, guys, what are you thinking about them at first blush?
First take is, hey, CIS got new units.
It's accurate. Yep. And new core units.
Yeah, definitely.
Just
No,
getting
I-
a free jump every turn is crazy.
Free jump 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's like free move, aim shoot. Free move, aim shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the models. I really do love the models. I think they're fantastic. Sorry, keep going, Michael.
No, I was going to say, personally, I've been waiting for the witches. That was what I'm really excited to see, still waiting on it. But I think these are great. They're not what I would have chosen, but I'm excited to see them on the table. I'm excited to see people put them together. Excited to model them. I think it's going to be great to have them.
Shawn pointing out something that I think is quite important. When you were saying, Jace, about the the move, aim, shoot. Let's not forget the aim, shoot, move away as well. So there's going to be a lot of like this. And
or shoot, move.
Totally. There's going to be so many things, right? You can get to a
Get
box,
over there.
you can get away. And the way down, you can't jump, but you can still move speed too. So you can still get to the box with speed, probably quicker than most, and then start to extricate that box pretty quickly. You may also be able to send multiple units. One is both a protector or an insurance policy, one to threaten the box. So I think there's a lot of potential.
You're not going to want to play against these guys in capture the capture the objective one. The
Recover the supplies.
Recover the supplies. Move.
Totally.
Yeah. Jump, move, claim, move, or jump, claim, move, and then move. You're
Right.
Yep.
3.
Not
Three
forgetting
moves.
too, if you have any height, which does exist on tables, the fact that they basically have like sharpshooter 2. With the
Unless
that
they're also
button
on height.
tank.
Unless you're just a millimeter short of height 2 terrain, and they're on height 1 terrain as well, and then nothing changes.
Yeah, there's going to be, I think, a lot of ability for these guys to get out of cover shots, and if they're in mass, that's a lot of out of cover shots that units aren't probably going to want to take. And their dice pools are reasonable. We'll look at the heavies. We'll look at add an extra body. I think that extra body is 11 points. So we'll kind of get into that as we sort of press on here. 1 hour 30 minutes in. We only get about maybe 12 slides left. So there's the extra warrior there, just 11 point base cost. So now you're talking, I think, 56 points for the unit. There's actually a really good shot of those like stick/bones on the pseudo flight stands there, a little bit better than we were talking about before. So like the one in the middle seems okay. The one on the right hand side there, that just looks like it's something waiting to break off.
That's going to be terrible to put together too. It's going to be they're going to look so cool, but like trying to get those pieces to line up is going to be a nightmare.
I'm actually going to make myself a Geonosian toe necklace from all the toes that I'm going to find scattered on tables, because those things are definitely snapping 100% right there. So, so just if you have any of those, you can send them to, I'll send you my address. You can send me all your fodder. But they do look spindly. I did want to mention too, you were talking about the models looking great. I think these models, if you're a contrast painter, I think you are going to be able to get Geonosians painted very quickly to a very good standard, and then hit the wings and the weapons, maybe a couple jewels here and there. And I think Geonosians are going to be maybe even quicker than B1s in some respects. But this is my kind of army to paint right here, I'll tell you that. So, although dry brushing, don't recommend it, because that's definitely snapping everything off there. So
all your wings gone.
The only thing you could dry brush these things with, I think, is like probably like a fingerprint brush, like those like huge ones that like basically are light as a feather, because you aren't going to want to aggressively dry brush these unless you're able to kind of like really support them. But I do think contrast paints are going to do really nicely on these. So, and the paint job on these looks great
Definitely
by the way too. So, and I think there'll be a cool army to have in variable paint schemes. One of the few units, I think you could probably stray from, stock standard, because I think they probably have quite a wide range. So, let's just, we'll keep plowing through here. We'll have a look at the heavies as we're kind of pressing on, and I am somehow in the background of that one. There we go. So this is the Geonosian warriors only, obviously. Add 1 force pike warrior to it, and when this unit performs, I think a move action, I think it says behind the spear there, you flip this card before placing the movement tool. So before you do any moves, you flip the card over. So I'm not sure if that means that you get the other side's.
You would, yeah. So there's another weapon on the other side that they didn't show us, but it's an overrun weapon.
Okay.
But we don't know anything about the dice or the keywords or how it works. We just know that it has the overrun rule.
Pointing out the fact that this, which seems really good with a free speed 3, so like getting that attack off, plus then your shot out of cover potentially, or
your free speed 2,
free speed 2, a jump 3. I meant
with height 3.
Yeah, I just meant sorry, I meant that. which
Yeah.
is pretty cool because that's 2 attacks around potentially for these guys. Again, another attack
definitely.
that's going to come with no cover, right? Your overrun's going to have no cover, and potentially your shot into the unit could have no cover as well, depending on where you land. So, couple that with suppressive, feels pretty good. Like, these guys can be fairly offensive, I think. So, and mitigating any actions back. It's a May, so you don't have to flip to the overrun one. So you can either have a suppressive attack or the overrun, and another. A black red into a pool that's already going to be 4 black 4 white doesn't seem too bad either. So no surge offense, but could have an aim token. So yeah,
Yep. It's fun too because you can do your free move before you do it. Flip to the overrun side, overrun, and then for your first action, do your move before you put the movement tool. Flip it back to this side, and then move into melee and fight.
Well,
Yep.
yeah,
And just
yes,
fight the same unit, hit the same unit both times too.
It is true, and I mean, on going down that line of thinking, Jace, could you not, before you move, flip it to the overrun, do the overrun attack, and then, because you'd have to, because then that would be a free move, right?
Yep, that'd
Could
be
you
for the jump move.
Could you then not then actually just make your speed, your regular speed move, flip on that, and then take a shot with a suppressive attack as well? Yeah, so you could also do. You wouldn't have to necessarily enter into melee. You could actually do a shot.
This is a melee weapon, though. This isn't.
This is a
Oh,
melee
sorry.
weapon.
This is a.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You would.
This is
I'm saying you'd shoot with you could shoot with your base gun.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could as well.
Which
Although
in
there's
this
no,
case would be
you wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't need to flip this back though if you did that. This would only
True,
matter
'cause
if you
this
wanted to enter
only
melee.
yeah, it only adds. But I guess the 5 black 5 white might not be terrible either. So if you didn't
No,
want to
not
enter,
at all.
If you didn't want to enter
Not
into
at all.
melee. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Having a look at on the flip side, and this might be more pertinent to the conversation I was just having about having that shot.
A lot more expensive though.
Yeah, Sonic Warrior Cannon here, or Sonic Cannon Warrior, I should say. It's a smattering here, but the scatter's quite good because I think the
Scatter is very nice.
I think the scatter potentially opens up the follow-up, possible overrun attacks by the next few warriors to come. So, that's scatter can
Or if
be a
you've got
thing.
a few of these, if you've got a few of these guys in your army, you're essentially moving out, and you're using these guys to shoot guys that have already gone. You're just moving out the other person's army out of cover. So the back line of your army can just take out whatever you've just moved out. Like, it's if you've got a few of these going in, like if you've got 2 or 3 of these in your sorry, if you've got a couple of these in your army, then you're just moving a whole bunch of units out each round out of cover. I think that's great.
Out of cover, potentially if you're not on terrain, and who cares if you're above them, because there's just going to be no cover shots anyway, right? So, I do love scatter.
It's so mobile.
Right, and I do love scatter for the ability to control the range band, right? So somebody's got a commander at, my commander's the furthest forward. Okay, cool. I'm going to take a shot, and then now I'm going to cohere all your models forward. You were attempting to be just outside of range 2 of my army.
Yep.
My very first shot in, I've now changed that calculus, and everything is now in range 2 of my army.
And now you've got to move, or now you've got to move to be able to recohere, to be able to give share tokens, or give if you're going against separatists. Now you've got to actually take an action, so you can now give your units tokens out. So now you can mess with command lines and all sorts of stuff.
Droid
this.
range, cohesion bubbles for, like you said, token sharing, command bubbles potentially. Obviously, you can't change the commander position, but if you're able to follow that up with then a coherence of a melee, then you can actually suck a commander forward. So there's a lot of things that you can do with that. So,
bringing your enemy into your range, but keeping them out of their range. Also, it's great.
Yeah, the no more cover aspect of this army is really, really interesting. So I'm going to keep pressing. I'm just going to keep pressing. We'll talk Geonosians and because we've got several more slides for these guys. But we didn't stop at just the warriors. We got another box.
Some character.
Yeah, we got so Sun Fact and Poggle the Lesser. I mean, he doesn't go by that by some to people. He's like average, Poggle the average, or maybe greater.
Poggle the average.
I mean, let's not get on this guy too much. I mean, that seems to be a bit strong, but you know.
Let's be fair, man. This guy built the Death Star. Like, let's.
I mean, I gotta feel bad for this guy. Like, he assembles the Death Star, and people are like, just you couldn't do any better. Like, he just like this guy's got.
They're like, bro, your planet got taken over twice. Come on, man.
The expectations on Pongal, I just want to say, are quite high. So I'm feeling a connect here. So before we get into the lesser of the Geonosians, we'll talk about Sun Fact here. And I'll throw them out here and you guys can speculate. And I'm again in the background, which is probably going to be on running theme with this particular Geonosians. Yep. I just wanted to feel connected. So 90 points. He's got a command slot here. He's got a comm slot. Sorry, that's a training. I meant, right? It's like command,
training,
comms, and training.
Comms. Yeah, training, comms, and gear.
Gear, that's what I meant. Sorry, I meant gear.
Gear. Yeah.
Also a free jump 3. He's got cover 1, death from above. We got that. Direct Geonosian warrior. That's cool. They don't have the chain, but that's still another token out of the bag, which is cool. Retinue Pongal the Lesser, so that's not bad. So retinue's just a good keyword all around. Scale and weighted down. So basically built on a Geonosian warrior frame with a few added things here, including cover 1, which just nothing to scoff at. So
very nice.
Yeah, he's a 5 health character with 2 courage, which is great. White dice saves, surges up and down. Not bad in melee with the force pike, 2 red and a black with Pierce 1.
And Pierce.
So, yeah, that's a pretty good profile, to be honest. And then he's got basically a rainbow suppressive range 1 to 3. Like, it just feels like he's kind of got like good stuff with just like a little slight bonus on there. So in all categories. So thoughts on this guy for 90 points? Doesn't feel like he's terrible.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I do find it funny that his sonic gun is range 1 to 3, and all the regular Geonosians only get 1 to 2.
yeah. Geonosians the lesser.
Yeah.
So,
and he also doesn't get
not
scatter,
the lesser.
which is sad. He's not the lesser.
It's the perks of being management.
That's true.
Perks of being management, greater range.
He's even got a premium base. He has a hill, not a bone to stand on.
You guys,
Oh, true.
You guys go forward. I'm going to stand back here. We'll all get them, yeah?
Pally coming in here again with I mean, fitting with the anti-clone theme. Better than Rex. Less 5 points.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I like the profile. It looks pretty good. I think the 2 courage is nice, so you're not just running around with a bunch of 1 courage units. The direct's just an added bonus. I'm not sure what we'll look at the command cards. Actually, I think we have them for this, but not sure what kind of like command range, like what kind of command control you'll have or activation control. But 1 less token is good. And I think if this guy is pressing up, going back to what you were saying, Brian, about being good in box grab, even if you play a lower command card, not having to fish for one of those core tokens and situationally getting it on the one you needed it on might not be bad. So
also we'll get to it, but he has a command card that makes him so dangerous in box grab.
Yep, it's coming.
Yeah. I know you can't use jump. You can't use jump once you have grabbed that box. You can't use jump and then go jump, move away. So, but you're still there way before most units.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be dangerous to go up against something like this when all of a sudden you've got 5 units or in an army that can just go boom 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 and take things away from you. Take the first 3 and then just run away and hide and do nothing else and have heavy unit. You've got to go through their unit. So don't pick that objective if you're going up against these guys.
Right, just a little foreshadowing for Bobster's comment there. We're only going to just talk about the unit cards for the Inquisitors. We're not going to get into all the command cards tonight, just in the interest of time. But they will kind of be at the tail end of the show here. I do want to go back and just say that I think in all particular scenarios where there's some interactive objective, whether it's box grab or hostage, or even bomb carrying, the scatter effect I think is going to be really, really effective for this unit. Being like having scatter potentially in multiple units is incredibly disruptive. Having scatter in one unit can be disruptive. Having scatter coming at you very fast from multiple sources is going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. To be perfectly honest, I'm quite excited to see how that interaction works. So, and of course, Michael, jump in at any point here. I'm just going to slide over.
I'm actually going to ask a question here for you guys since I've been away for a little while. And I know with panic changing, I'm just kind of wondering what impact that's had on suppression and suppressive game, because I see a lot of these have suppressive upgrades. Sunfac had suppressive on his weapon. Is that something that will have much impact, or how has that been playing out with the change to panic and other?
I'll take a stab at this. So obviously, I really liked the old panic rules, and at first
Likewise.
I was quite obstinate to really resistant to the change. However, I would say that I have learned to play within them as you need to, and I've also come across one important element. I think that there was a certain point in the game where panicking units that were close to the edge was scary. Panicking units that were running out of key positions into like the open was scary. But I felt like there was enough mitigation for good players to really play around that, and almost in some respects able to just sort of be like, I actually don't care here, and if you do panic me, it's probably to my benefit. What I've found about panicked units now is that players are having to choose when they go with those units, and they're still at the inherent risk of like, if I don't get this off, I'm just stuck here doing nothing. And I have an unfortunate pass mechanic when I really didn't want to have one. So I actually feel like a lot of times, not talking specifically about even dropping boxes or not interacting with objectives, but those times when they're like, I don't really want to go with that unit because I need to do other things, and you stack suppression on it, and then they're like, if I don't go with it and roll enough off, I'm literally just giving you the opportunity to go back to back anyway. So I actually feel like it makes my opponent have to make more strategic choices when to try to go with a panic unit. So I think it plays differently, but still has quite an impactful part in the game. So I think suppression and panicking units is still a part of the game. It's just not walk-off units for free.
Also, the ability to just stop a unit from scoring key positions or something like that by just shooting them a couple times.
Yep, because I do think that's the other thing with a lot of the jump 3 for free, the move shoot a suppressive weapon in on the last turn potentially has that ability to clear off units that are holding objectives at the end of the game, if you're not running them in early in the game to try to capture stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And again, scatter could come in huge where a guy's going to tuck in, touch a key position, have the unit like sort of tucked out, and you're like, actually, no, I'm going to bring all those guys out and I'm going to shoot off everybody. And now where I couldn't see anything, I can get to everything, and you're going to eventually have to kill your unit leader. And whether you're panicked and not scoring or just dead, where you were previously safe, you may not be anymore with scatter. It's going to be very disruptive. It's probably just to restate what I've stated already, I think it's the most interesting element of this army for me is all of the scatter. And I know all the other things are cool, the free speeds and the fairly large dice pool at a relatively cheap price point. I think there's lots there, and we'll get into the command cards. I think that'll make them even spicier. So,
yeah, and the fact you can have 6 scatters too. Like, there's no limit on these guys, which is amazing.
For sure. Let's have a little chat here about Poggle here. I'm not going to
call him
because I think that's at this point derogatory towards him. I don't know him to be lesser than any other Geonosian, but he is 85 points, so he is less points. So maybe I just kind of I hurt my own joke there. So he's less than Sunfac in terms of points. He's got 2 command slots, a comm slot, and a gear upgrade. He's jumped to Compel Core. Killing off Geonosians, or not killing off, but suppressing Geonosians.
Giving a suppression.
Yep. He doesn't have what's Moff Gideon's thing that he has. He has the one where he kill off. What's that? Somebody in the chat will help me out. He's got the one where he shoots people, which probably applies here too. Entourage B2, very interesting here.
Amazing.
Yeah. Override 2, and then weighed down, obviously. He's not as good in melee with the 2 black. And he has a decent range 3 gun at 2 black. He is only speed 1,
Ruthless.
so what's that? Sorry,
Ruthless.
Oh, Ruthless. Thank you.
Is the one that you're looking for. Sorry.
He is only speed 1, so he's a bit of a slower Geonosian, so less than the others, I guess, is where it's all coming in. It's all coming clear here as we work through this. He doesn't have surge defense, so he's less defensive as well. He is red dice. He is 4 health, so less health than the other leader, but better courage. So we've now negated
less likely to panic.
Yeah, less likely to panic. Thank you, Michael.
And he is a commander, not an operative. So everybody can use that courage.
Right. So that does net overall help everything there. So I don't think Poggle is necessarily going to look spectacular on the card, and I think his real value is going to come through his command cards. But before we get into that, what do you guys think about him for 85 points and kind of what he brings to the table there? So
I think he'll be a great support character.
Yeah. I think he's going to be that in between a base commander and then like a fairly strong commander. Great support. And especially if he's only 4 and he's got red defense dice.
I think he definitely needs that courage. A health 4 is a little bit worrisome. Would be great to see him at 5, and it's a bit of a weird play space. Like he's playing as a generic, like he's kind of got generic stats but better courage. But everything else sort of seems that baseline generic, right? He's got like just average melee and average gun, nothing spectacular there. But his ability to bring 2 command slots, I think, is very interesting. I think you could really thematically build him out to be how you want him, like how you see him supporting the army. I think will be largely dictated by what he takes for upgrades here.
Yeah,
and I think he's going to be super. Like even though he's only speed 1, I think because he's got the free jump. And he's going to be able to move twice. He's still going to be able to keep up with your army, to be able to stay in range of things and so forth.
All right, fellas, we got 4 command cards and a couple of units. And
wonderful.
Some quick chats about the plastic, so we can make it here. Not in 8 minutes, but nobody expected us to land at the 2-hour mark. Let's be honest here. All right, let's break it down here. I'll tackle the cards and then float them out. Bryant, you're going to deal with 1 pip. Michael, you're going to respond to the 2, and Jace, you got the 3 pip here.
Oh, yeah.
So let the executions begin. Is Poggle the Lesser. So during the issue order step, you may issue up to 2 orders to 2 friendly droid trooper units at range 1. And during Poggle the Lesser's activation, friendly non-panicked droid trooper units at range 1 of Poggle the Lesser gain fire support. Poggle the Lesser may make 2 attack actions during his activation.
Right. You had to give me that one. I'm confused just even listening to it.
So basically, you.
Well, I feel like satisfying the non-panic droid unit at range 1. I feel like you probably can satisfy that requirement quite easily.
Yeah. So basically, there's a couple things that this one breaks down to. The first thing is, so it's a 1 pip that issues the Poggle. You can also issue up to 2 additional orders to droid troopers at range 1.
And the B2.
Yep.
Right?
Then you can...
Entourage.
Yeah, plus the entourage. And then after that, basically those ones that you give out, any droid troopers non-panicked and at range 1 of him gain fire support. However, if you just issue to a B1, then you just direct out to all the B1s and you don't really care about the other orders. But
right,
I'm quite liking
basically
having fire support and being able to attack twice in through.
Now,
his activation.
yeah, the thing is they only get the fire support during his activation, so you have to fire support into Poggle.
But I feel like Poggle getting fire supported by like a B2 Ha feels quite good.
Awesome.
At range
Great.
2.
You feel great about that.
I mean, yeah, you're only adding 2 black dice to it, but it is now gaining blast, and it is now also gaining surge to hit, and it's gaining all the B2 dice. So you're talking...
The surge to hit is the big thing.
Yeah, what are you talking? You're talking 3 red, because if you have a T-Series in the Ha, you have, in the B2 Ha, you're talking what? 3 black, 3 white, plus a white, plus 3 red, plus another 2 black into a surge platform with blast. So feels quite good. Even if it's at only range 3, you'd still add 3 red and a white to his 2 black. So you're having a 6 dice pool with surge at range 3 with blast.
Yep.
Yeah, very, very good. And he also can make 2 attacks that round. So he could just be fire supported by like a B1 with an E5C or an E5S or you know, that's not bad because the whole pool is going to gain surge.
Yeah. Now the part that I find interesting about Poggle, and we'll get to this as we get to his other command cards too, is that he's going to come out with the Geonosians, but all of his command cards you want droids.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're taking him, you're taking a B2, right? Like you're gonna
at least one
exactly,
B2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're gonna take that for the entourage. You like that, and you probably want.
They're just funny how they don't really work well with Geonosians.
Right. Well, he is the lesser, so that probably.
Yeah, he's the lesser. Yeah.
I mean, you can't all be Sun Fact, I guess, at this point. So.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a stab at this 2-pip. I think the 1-pip's pretty strong, for sure.
1-pip's great.
This is a 1 unit as well, but it can be anyone, I guess. Friendly Sun Fact loses direct Geonosians this round. Friendly Sun Fact and Geonosian warriors gain coordinate Geonosian warriors. When a friendly Geonosian warrior unit with a face-up order token begins its activation, it gains 1 aim token, and there's something in behind that, and I don't know what that one is. But it's.
I'm assuming.
I'd say it's a dodge.
Well, it could,
my guess would be dodge.
It could say surge.
It's if you have a look.
It could.
If you have a look closely, you can see the top of a line.
Yep.
On where, so it looks like a D. It looks like it's the.
Well, isn't that the top
or
of
is
the
that
D for the
the number 1? Oh yeah.
Well,
I think it's the D on the and, but either way, they're gaining an aim plus something. But let's go back a little second for the coordinate Geonosian warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it feels like a B1 chain because you issue your order to Sunfac if you have him, and he chains to Geonosian, and so on and so forth down the line. All your Geonosian warriors have order tokens, you have full control, and when you activate them, you get your aim plus something else, so yeah, seems good to me.
Yeah, a 2-pip that only issues 1 but really issues way more, and you still got that coordinate. You still have the entourage to the B2 squad as well. So you're really getting a bunch of tokens. This for the coordinate or
for Sunfac, Sunfac and Poggle. So that doesn't have range if you've got them across the board, which I don't think having retinue you may not often do that, but if you find yourself across the board here.
Oh, gotcha. I see what you're saying.
It's still happening. It's not just if you're in range 3.
Gotcha. Yeah, I kind of like this, and I don't know where this exactly plays, but I think because it's probably situational. But it's a really good turn card where I guess a card to play on a turn where you're really looking for ultimate control. And in your particular case, Jace, you're talking about taking a lot of B1s. Now, this doesn't seem to be as strong if you only have a few Geonosians in there, but if you're kind of playing the Geonosian skew, this one seems to come out and feel pretty good. I think that 1-pip,
definitely.
You don't necessarily have to be playing a bunch of droid troopers. you're definitely just going
You
to
just
want
need
to
two
make
of them.
sure you exactly, and you want to probably make sure those are your big platforms. So I think that's applicable there. So,
Yeah, so I think this 2-pip fits very nicely into the scenario I talked about earlier, where you have a turn where you want to rush a whole bunch of stuff. So you've kept your Genos and Warriors in the back line. Now they're all set to go. They've got tokens for control. They've got aim tokens. Rush them in. Do your scatter, your suppression, all that kind of stuff, and wreak havoc.
yeah, and I think too, Michael, with the control, you're able to go. You can go 1, 2, 3. Like you have no disruption to that. You're not like drawing and hoping, or you're not diluting your potential draw pool as you get down. You're like, I can just go with all of the core if I need to, and I can go with none of them if I want to hold them and go late. So,
exactly.
Yeah, for sure. I like how this plays. So, again, not revealing anything about Friday night fights, but there was a little bit of teasing going on about the fact that I like to play standing orders like multiple turns because it's like the only 4-pip that I have. Well, not anymore, folks. Expect me to mix in another 4-pip. So 5 turns of standing orders, followed by or maybe led with we make weapons. So this is 4 droid troopers. So again, probably not as beneficial for those Geonosian builds, but droid troopers, which you may find yourself in here, and it's fine if you have less than 4. When building a command hand, treat this card as though it has 3 pips. I will never do that. I will always count it as 4. But for the command hand building, I will. And when a droid trooper unit is issued an order with this card, it may choose to return its order to the order pool. If it does, you may return a defeated miniature to the unit with no wound tokens and remove 1 suppression.
Just instantly bring back a B2 or a Magna.
In fact, can't you bring back 4?
Yes, sorry, in each unit.
Yeah, in each unit.
Like one in each unit. But the other thing too, though, is it is core droid trooper. Yeah. So, but
it's
4
core.
B2s.
So your prototype Magnus you can, but not your normal Magnus.
Yeah, but you can't bring Poggle in the you can't bring him in the battle force. Yeah.
But really,
that would be awesome if you could.
But I mean, bringing back B2s just feels good. It comes back with It comes back with no wounds, so it's a 2-for-1 trade here. Like you're bringing back 2 wound
that's
models.
8 wounds that you could bring back with this card.
That feels exceptionally good, especially if you manage to what if you're bringing back a heavy. Like you're down to just a unit leader, you got him tucked in, and it's like, cool, I'll just bring back my heavy now. There's nothing here that precludes you from doing that. That feels pretty good.
That's a pretty valuable card.
And I guess it wouldn't.
That's why it's a 4-pip.
This just seems real strong for a 4-pip. I mean, this seems just quite good.
You are guaranteed going last.
Well, and here's the thing too. I actually don't know if this is only a late game play. This might actually be a card to instantly recover from a really good alpha. Like if you just
great turn 2 play.
Yeah, if you got like a let's just say you ate a clone blast, that chews off 2 or 3 models,
or attack strike.
Or attack strike, or a Leia bombard, or something that just got you through some early attrition, and you're like, you know what? If you're gonna keep picking on that unit, I may not have this around. I just want to get those wounds back instantly, and I think coming back with B2s, like I said, for a 2-up trade feels quite good here. So, I like this card a lot.
It allows your B2s to move up and get in quick. Get into range a little bit quicker. You don't have to sit back and hide off. You've got I've got an insta heal sort of card.
Yeah, and I mean, couple that with some PK droids, you could have a lot of potential here. So yeah.
To Shawn's comment in chat, does this give a better reason to run HQ uplink on B2s? The card does say that it has to be issued an order from the card in order to have that effect.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's a fair point. So, he's just saying for guaranteed orders on them, but yeah, I guess it doesn't get around. Yeah, that's that. That being said, Michael, I think we've seen quite a few cards come out lately, especially in like Tempest Force, where they've just sort of abandoned that. It was like, here's an effect that's on a card that doesn't need to be issued from the card at all. So there has been a
Yep.
pretty good precedence for that. So Justice saying this, I'm not guaranteed to go last because someone could play it against me, and then I'd play standing orders. And so this is fair.
Yes.
Yeah, roll off every time. Every time. Gotcha. Yeah, touche.
Nice.
All right, let's have a look at this guy here so we can power through the last of it. We're doing well, fellas. For a lot of screens, we're doing not bad. So, Brutal Enforcer. This is Sunfact's only card. So, in fact, he has less command cards than Pongo. I'm just pointing that out. But after this only goes to Sunfact. It's a 1-pip. After the issue order step, up to 2 friendly Geonosian warriors at range 2 of a friendly Sunfact may free jump 3. Sunfact gains Agile 1 and Demoralize 1. So if I'm reading this correctly, they just get to do a free jump 3, and then on their own activation, do a free jump 3 plus a speed 2 plus a speed 2?
Yep.
Which basically means if you're on advanced positions, recover the supplies, free jump, then on their turn, free jump, pick up, move. Or sorry, pick up, move.
So all that theory crafting about distances to get there quicker just went up. The calculus just went up. You're getting there now
Poggle,
faster.
to compel.
Oh yeah, and then if they're
so
suppressed, you just compel them.
Got the guy
Oh,
in the
that's
back
just-
that's gone. Oh, it's right. I've just got to tie up my shoelaces, and he's fallen behind. You can just slingshot him straight to the front.
So you could move, compel, then free move, then move with a single unit.
Well, compel is only if you're suppressed,
Oh,
so
yes,
it basically just gives you.
So it wouldn't give them an extra right. They would just be able to move at full. At the full. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, they could move as a first action.
So still
if
4
they're
moves.
suppressed.
4 moves can still occur.
Yes.
In 4 moves by 2 units can still occur.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll tell
And
you.
then my flutters will come running in after him.
I'll tell you where this might actually work as well.
Good thing those Sonic things have imp.
This might be a really tough card to math around for things like a VAPS.
Yeah.
Where a unit could make a really big push, maybe even on a turn 5, with multiple units onto a VAP, and then you're kind of either like maybe it's something that you left only a single unit on, or you finished up and try to move forward of it. These guys got in behind you. They could really press a VAP with this card, coupled with their own the fact that they have their own pretty agile frames. So yeah, there's a lot here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these guys are going to be tricky to sort of peg down in terms of being able to figure out where they're all going to be. And again, it's not coming from 1 or 2 units. You got potential that you got 6 of these guys up in your face. So
The other thing too is Sunfact can do this move himself because it's not other friendly Geonosian warrior unit. Oh no, it has to be Geonosian warriors. It can't be himself. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, is he not? What is
It's
he
not just-
classified as?
Well, Geonosian warrior units is the name of the
gotcha, 'cause
core.
it says
They're
it's
not
the
Geonosian trooper units.
Right, it's the
Yeah.
subtype, right, yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
But he
Because I was
also-
like, man, if he could do this on himself and give himself another dodge from agile.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but he's still gonna be able to potentially get a couple dodge tokens for sure. So.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and then he has the cannon, but he doesn't have any of the special effects of like, I guess he is his weapon suppressive?
Sunfax?
Yeah.
His weapon is suppressive.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
So then, that's not bad. So he can add the demoralize suppression and then shoot you with a suppressive weapon as well.
Why
So,
wouldn't it be?
yeah, that's something right there, right? So, yeah, very very cool. All right, Net overall thoughts on Geonosians?
Oh, they're going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to.
Yeah.
I don't think they're overpowered like a new Empire unit coming into the game, but they will be interesting to work around.
Well,
You'll have to think outside the
I
box
think
to
we're
take
going
them
to
down.
see a lot of CIS players bringing in the Geonosians.
Yeah.
There's-
We just got
Yeah,
our pike equivalent, and by that I don't mean that they're the analog to pikes. I just mean like the either spam them heavily or bring them in small amounts. Like I think you'll kind of see them sprinkled amongst CIS for sure. So
No, I think these are going to be kind of like I've been saying about the Wookiee Flutter list I love to run. It's not the best. You can win with it, but it's a heck of a lot of fun to play. It's got its own unique style, which is good to see to the game.
I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
a puzzle and a problem to solve, and then
Yeah.
and then that solution will be found, and then somebody will present another problem, running them a different way.
I think I think you'll see a lot of them mixed in with CAD and possibly some of Maul if he comes in, where you can get your three moves like CAD, like those sort of players that like to get up close quick.
I'm going to make my prediction and say you're going to see a bunch of these miss and unassembled. But there'll be lots of them out there. So, all right, let's get into the last one here. Getting some Empire love in here. So again, we're just going to hit these briefly. I always want to say fifth brother, seventh sister. Sounds like my family actually. I have 5 brothers. And only 2 sisters, no, not 7. But so Empire obviously had to get some love here. I don't know if, again, just like the clone commandos, I don't know if this tickles anybody's fancy here on the panel or in chat. But again, I'm not overly excited about them because they have glow sticks, and I don't usually use anything with those because I'm not capable of playing with anything that's got multiple.
These are cheap ones, Shawn. You would love these ones.
Yeah,
because if one dies, your army doesn't implode.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, because that's usually I send.
It's your favorite type of glow stick.
Yeah, anything with a glow stick that can go off to see. This is why I like Grievous, right? Because he had 4 of them. I'm like, all right, he can lose 3 arms and he's still viable. Everybody else only has 2.
And last I heard, Shawn really liked the RAM keyword.
I do actually like Ram. Ram's pretty good. So Michael has some
Ram
playing against Tauntaun, so that's fair. I forgot about that wound I inflicted upon him. So yes.
Oh, that wasn't bad because I learned all the tricks in one game. So
yeah, that's fair. Michael, you know what I just came across, and Michael will remember this moment. Do you remember back to that Las Vegas Open we were playing at, and when we established the dice rolling rules of the game and the box, and and how those rules were upheld the entire game until Jeff Hardy, calling you out, Jeff, rolls the final dice of the game to decide it. It's outside of the box. He's like, nope, that just counts.
But it was a crit, so that one counts.
Yeah, I told that story the other day, and I just now that you're here, Michael, just reminded me of that again. So, all right, let's see who's better, brothers or sisters here. So, Jace, you do this one. Cover us off here. Fifth brother. Nice.
Fifth brother. All right. One operative, 105 points, 2 training slots, and a force slot, which is nice. So, burst of speed or force push or whatever you want. There you go. He has Dauntless, so after you rally, if you're suppressed but not panicked, you may gain a suppression to perform a free move. He has Block, so you can spend a dodge token and gain Surge to block. Enrage 2, when you have 2 or more wound tokens, treat your courage as nil and gain charge. And Immune Pierce, of course, as he's a force user. He has 6 health, 2 courage with red defensive saves, and surges to hit. For weapons, he's also speed 2. He has his Spinning Lightsaber, which is 5 black in melee with Impact 2, Pierce 1, and of course, Ram 2.
Okay.
And then he has his Throne Spinning Lightsaber, which is range 1 to 2, 3 black, Impact 2, Pierce 1.
Yeah, with a head like that, you got to have Ram, of course. So.
Oh, look at that hat.
Yeah. Wow, this profile seems quite strong. We are gonna get into all things the Inquisitors next week, but just as we're going first blush, anybody like super excited about this? Is there anything standing out that seems exceptionally interesting that either one of you want to comment on?
I think I'll be honest. I think these guys you're gonna see a lot of these guys team up, like for the price or just a little bit more than the price of one of the other major force wielders. You can get 2 of these guys, like 2 activations, and they're still pretty tanky.
Yeah, Bernard coming in with hot takes here.
Also, just run a generic officer with this guy and just run it up the field to have it die, so that once your opponent wounds this guy, your entire army is just nil courage.
So this is the opposite of how I would play Becky. Becky, you're leading the way.
Oh, just run Becky up the field, and if Becky dies, if they start wounding the fifth brother, you're just like, okay, cool. Now you can't panic my entire army, and I always count for objectives.
So if you guys see me with a recon intel Becky, it's only so that she can get there quicker to die. Yeah. Yeah, no, and they'll have command cards. They got us another special upgrade. Obviously, it's pretty impactful in terms of shutting down other force power. So we're going to get into all that. I just wanted to, in the interest that they were in Ministravaganza, I wanted to kind of get them out there. So let's have a look at Seventh Sister. Well, go ahead, Jace.
I do want to say one last thing on Fifth Brother.
Sorry.
As long as you get that full move off, his average die pool without an aim is 5 hits on 5 dice.
It's just
because you should with surge hit with surge hit you should get 3 out of 5, and then you just ram the other 2.
Yeah. Well, if we weren't going to get a battle force, at least we got a half decent, another force user, as Bernard's correctly pointed out here. It's about time.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if this one is equally terrible.
Oh yeah. So she costs more. 110 points versus 105. Also an operative with 2 training, 1 force. Seventh Sister has jump 1. Associate Fifth Brother. During army building, this unit does not count against the number of operative ranks you may include if Fifth Brother is included in the same army. So you can basically take 3 operatives now for Empire if you want to take both of them plus someone else.
Boba.
Now she has, Boba.
Vader.
Or Op Vader, yep. Slew of keywords, block, so spend a dodge. Same as Fifth Brother, spend a dodge, gets surge to defense. She just natively has charge. Disciplined 1, so if she's issued an order, just remove a suppression token. And immune pierce. And then she also has a new keyword, interrogate. When this unit is at range 1 of an enemy unit, treat that unit's command cards as having 1 more pip.
That is brutal.
Dude, if your opponent has cunning, you just destroy them. You're playing against a Dooku, and you do for a 1 pip off. Sorry, your 1 pip's actually a 2 pip, and I win even though you have cunning.
Depending on how the command cards come out early game, if you have her in position mid-game, you can just pseudo-control the rest of the priorities by bumping up all their pips. Depending on what they play versus what you do, but that's brutal. I mean brutal.
It's wild.
5 pip standing orders.
Finally, Michael. Finally.
5 pips standing.
I will finally be able to lose without a roll off in the standing orders play down. Thank you. Best card ever.
So she is a little less tanky than Fifth Brother. 5 wounds with red defense dice, but 3 courage, although not nil. Fifth Brother's better because he can go to nil. Still surges to hit, and then still speed 2. The weapons are the exact same, except she doesn't have ram because she doesn't get the big hat. Yeah, no big hat.
I really like that interrogate keyword, and I think
that interrogate is awesome.
That's going to be something we're definitely going to see on some. I can think of some non-released, potential down the road units that interrogate would be another great include on. But that's a cool one. I like that one, and that's something that we really haven't seen. We've seen some sort of manipulation of the wording on command cards. But this one is an in-play effect that could, in fact, play in every turn of the game. Minus turn 1, I guess, just unless somehow that happened. But yeah, that's a really interesting effect on her. So, and the coupling together seems really, really good. So, feel like they are.
Yeah, remember when?
Yeah.
Oh, way better than Ventress.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing like the Empire to invalidate previously released Empire. Yeah, so.
Here's just a quick list put together. So Vader, Fifth Brother, Seventh Sister, all with Force Push. 3 naked stormtroopers and three speed bikes. You're looking at about 760 points. Add a couple of extras in there, and and you're looking at a 9-act list with 3 speeder bikes, 3 stormtroopers, and 3 glow stick users.
Yeah, decent.
And
glow
3
stick.
force
Tell
pushes.
me you're not going to go for yeah, 3 force
You're-
pushes.
you're- The issue you'll run into is which command cards do you take.
Yeah, no question.
I honestly
Sean's-
think if you take these two, you take them with Callus.
Yeah, it's for the contingencies. You could, I mean, you'd
Yeah.
have it. You'd have it
Yes.
potentially. So, and like I said, we'll get into the command cards next cast for sure. Sean says he feels interesting but gimmicky. See, that's my take on all Force users. In my opinion, I think they all have something to
Definitely.
offer, and not just Force users, but really any name commanders. Yeah, they do have, but they do have some gimmicks, but they also do come with a boatload of keywords. And so, like, she has offensive keywords, defensive keywords, anti-force user keywords, get out of suppression trouble keywords.
Yeah, upgrade card.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
We'll get into that next week, but that
Get
one
into
is
that next week.
yeah. Talk about anti-force user tech for sure. That's defensive
Yeah.
tech, and I just mess with whatever you're doing tech. So, and then couple that with interrogate, you're really messing with force users for sure. I
Yeah.
think she has a lot of play.
And we'll, as Sean said, we'll talk about it in the next cast when we go through the command cards, because there's a lot of them with a lot of text, but preview, the command cards are really good.
Yeah, preview. We didn't want to make Brian's brain explode, so
Yeah.
he's in the future and still doesn't understand them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But you are in the future, so that's a fair point. All right. Well, let's
I'm
hit
still
up.
confused.
Speaking of the future, I literally have the next slide labeled as that. Look at me with the transitions here. Future releases, detail to be added later. But this is expected.
New support.
Yeah, I wonder what size base it's gonna be on. I hope it's. On
I think it's the
large
same as the
base.
stat.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
on
it'll be
Spider
stab.
base?
Yeah, like, or no, I think it'll be like, oh, maybe. But they're
Maybe
smaller than
ATRT?
spider droids, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, are
No,
they?
because
I reckon
that's the same base size.
they'll be
I think they might
size
be.
of a Mark II or a.
Okay.
They'll
Yeah,
be a small notch base.
that
Like,
one.
you have a
Not
look at
near-
them in the video. A
Oh.
clone trooper stands on top of one.
Okay,
like-
gotcha.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah,
they're not
they'll
that
be the like a stap or speeder bike base or Mark IIs on the base, mortars on that base. So
Only slightly disappointed this is not a Hellfire droid. Just saying that we just really need that. But I'll take any vehicle/support units. If you
I
didn't have
I
enough,
haven't seen the point on this guy.
no, I don't think. I think
Sorry,
this is
yeah.
like a far in the future release, basically. So,
this is 2025, they said.
yeah, for sure. On
Yeah.
other releases down the line, we did get talk and release around the new sculpts. Sean Death pointing out, and I think it was Justice as well, talking about like no more bendy HH12s. I jokingly said now I have to buy more boxes of new stormtroopers so that I can add new HH12s to my remnant battle force. So
Yep.
it's weird. You bought the stormtrooper boxes before to not use the HH12s. Now you're going to be buying the new boxes for the HH12. So we have officially come full circle in Legion. Just wanting to point that out. So
on this one, I really want to find out what their plan is and how they're going to release these, because they're all like, if you look at it as a retailer or a wholesaler, you've got this stock of stuff where you got this massive line of stock of old units
right.
that people aren't going to want to touch, and all of a sudden they're bringing out these new ones that have new models. Everyone's going to want them. Everyone's going to want the hard plastic. Why?
That's not
I
Han,
would
Ryan,
like
that's
to
not
see. I'd like to see the logistics of how they're going to handle this, and not absolutely put every single retailer/wholesaler on the back foot of them, because if you're a small store and you've got, say, 10 grand worth of stuff on stock, and you've got $2,000 worth of old style units, and you know that anything plastic is going to come out and eventually get restocked. One, are you going to stock them? Are you going to waste your money? Probably not. But unless people start ordering them directly from you, or are you going to stock them and go, well, I might just throw my money away for the hope that customers buy the stuff in time and then not restock them when up closer to. Like, how's the logistics of that going to work? Are they just going to go, okay, we're gonna take everything back and swap them over with new ones for you, or are they just?
I think it's going to be the same
sorry,
way that they did the
bad.
new Wookiee box.
Yep, I have things. I have old Wookiees sitting on the shelves still that no one will touch.
Yeah,
Why?
I feel like it's going to be the exact same
The
thing.
new Wookiees come out, and it's a bit of, well, screw you retailer, screw you wholesaler.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
The nice thing is these aren't coming till 2025.
True. You
Oh,
can.
I know, but that's what they've got to plan for in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me back this up. Are you saying it's bad to have 10 grand worth of unopened plastic on shelves? Just
Now you're just making Shawn feel bad about himself.
every hobbyist out there is just glancing around the room. Is this a bad feeling?
Yeah, like-
No, I get what you're talking about from a retail perspective. I understand.
As a retailer, 100% it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
If you're a buyer, I
smell
I'm
discounts.
Not I'm not gonna comment. But that's what you're going to do. The retailers are going to fire sale everything and lose money on a line just so they can, because they've decided to bring out new products. Unless they have, this is a box of, here's your plastic box, you don't get anything else, and it's a cheaper item because it's replacing something you've already got. I'm not saying, I'm not being a doomsayer. I'm just being I'll be the devil's advocate and say, here's what can possibly happen, and you're going to get everyone on your bad side, all the sellers on your bad side, if you don't handle this the right way. And they've really got to. I love the models. I think they're fantastic. As a buyer, I'll be buying a bunch of them, and I don't need them. But
see, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I've already got 6 units of Stormtroopers and I don't want to paint anymore.
Yeah,
but I want the model.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the thing, right? I don't think everybody's going to need to get all of these. I think there's going to be people who have all of them and are like, I want some flavor. I want to mix this in. I do think there's a market here where it's like, you know what? I got 6 redundant units of Rebel Troopers. I wouldn't have minded to have some, different models in there, mix it up a little bit, smattering here and there. So I think there's that. I get what you're saying is that you don't want to have like a full like insta replace, and then there's no real rhyme or reason for anybody to get any old stock. However, I would say this: I think the Battle Force releases are actually helpful for old stock, because who was buying 6 boxes of Scouts before? Who has 10 boxes of Wookiees? And so I think the Battle Force is, fair. It's a fair. Present company accepted. Michael. But I'm just saying, like, I think that the Battle Forces are actually, in a way, promoting some of the movement of that old stuff, which is good too.
100%.
Yeah. So
100%. I think that's part of the plan for them.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Which is great. Yeah. Let's start doing some of that. So I think if there's a little bit of I think if there's a little consideration for maybe bringing in some of the units, reviving some of the units that were underplayed before, great. Like, it would be great if Droideca's got a little bit of extra, and so some of those could move off the shelf. Just trying to think about like kind of other things that we don't necessarily play a lot of, but they could kind of get a revitalization through the use of Battle Forces, or small tweaks in the cards, like what they did to the snail tank. Here's a profile for the snail tank. Here's another profile for the snail tank. Here's a Magna Guard profile. Here's a way to run 6 Magna Guard, with a slightly different profile. So, yeah.
Got to find a way to run Lando now.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to go back, if you can go back to the last screen for one more quick thing before we move on to it.
Yep.
I do also think, because they brought this out when they brought up remaking everything into hard plastic, was the new Rebel unit for 2025. I think it's actually the middle line that we have here is going to be a new Rebel unit. Yeah, called Rebel Saboteurs.
Whole new unit.
Yep.
Yep. So,
which will be, but again, might be a nice way to add mixes to your other Rebel troopers, right?
Yep. But Rebels, you will get something. Just give it 2 years.
Just wait.
We've only got one
I
thing,
empathize with you.
but it's coming.
Aren't releases built on hope? I thought isn't that the line from the movies?
Yeah. But yeah,
I
mean, we got Command.
Something like that.
We got an Empire release. We've got some GAR releases. We were told about. We are getting some Geonosians for CIS with a Crab Droid. Rebels, you can wait till 2025.
You'll be fine.
Nope.
Yeah, you're gonna.
You'll be okay.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
That's their version of, hey, you should start another faction and buy another faction in between.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Your faction sucks. You should maybe consider starting another one.
But don't worry. If you guys were looking for like a 7th Luke sculpt, it's coming. If you did like all the other ones that we had, no. So here's this obviously just we're gonna end up here. We'll jump back to our screen and we'll get the guys out of here. Hey, we only went 2 hours and 30 minutes. Pretty good, not bad. But I think we did not bad for 56 screens if you were keeping track.
Yeah.
So moving over.
Leia's actually has a face.
Yeah, hard plastics is the direction that they are gonna go here. So this was what they were talking about. Just saying that they're going to have really more crisp details, just a better process overall. Did talk about that this is a process to shift to that. It will take some time to move there. So I think that was the whole. I don't think their whole premise was basically to tell us that everything is coming in 2 years, but I think that was to still speak to the fact that they've been quite transparent about the process always taking 2 years. Like everything is down the track kind of thing. So. That was kind of what they're talking about. I do think the Leia sculpt is better here than the other one. It's still kind of, I don't know, it's too Padme-esque for me. But
that is fair.
And if you have a look at the Shatterpoint one that they released at the same time, you just go, it hurts.
Oh, gotcha. So see, I haven't looked at any Shatterpoints, so I never get disappointed because I never know what they're doing over there. But Tactical Rock Luke, okay. I mean, I don't know how many more Luke sculpts we need, but I get it because they're shifting over to the hard plastic, so one more seems appropriate and fitting here. And I think no matter how many Vader sculpts you put out, people will just keep buying him. So, he's just cool. So for sure. That is all of the things. I think. I was just gonna draw one more point here. It's a plus for AMG and the website that. All the things that we talked about, including all the links to the stream, the articles, the transmissions, etc. On the Ministravaganza page, you can look at the incoming transmissions, and they have a summary done of all the coverage done over the days, and it's all quick linked and it's organized well. And so if you just want to go back and want to know more about one particular thing post Ministravaganza, you don't have to go watch like 14-hour Twitch streams and scroll through and find the timestamp. It's well organized. So I think they did a good service to the community there and organized that well. So speaking of organizing well, I think we did pretty well, fellas. We got through. Michael managed to stay up till the end, so that's our like old man litmus test. We haven't gone past the threshold. Not to suggest that I'm too much further from that. Bryant is still in the future. He's like halfway through Thursday at this point. I don't know about LVO, Travis. I'm still trying to figure out how to get invites here, so I might have to just plan lots of events here. So since you're asking, I assume that you're also going to LVO.
Hopefully they'll have enough people at LVO.
Yeah.
I would have absolutely loved to, but one American trip will do me.
One American trip, one Canadian trip.
One American will.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, if you don't pull your finger out, I'm gonna have to make a Canadian.
I mean, I've tried. I've really attempted to. Previously when I left with the invitation that looks like astoundingly like yours, I mistakenly thought I was in when it said I was invited.
What do you mean I didn't make it?
But I'm not. At least, sorry, asterisks. I don't know. Because I'm not the organizer and it needs to be submitted. So we'll see how that goes. But whatever event I'm at, and if people in the chat or watch our show are at, I will inevitably hang out with all those fine people. So But
Well,
you're all
you
invited.
can fly
You're all
over to
invited here,
Australia
so.
if you want. We've got a whole bunch of them going on here. I've
Everything
still got
kills
3
you in
more
Australia,
invites to
yes.
hand out. So
You have 3 more invites to hand out.
yeah, we because I head up the Oceanic League across Australia. We got 5 packs to go through. So we
Nice.
actually got 5 store kits to head out to in different states.
Cool.
Just in case a state didn't get in the pack.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I got 3
How
of them
many
left over to go.
how many
So-
Australians that you know of right now are planning to make the trek over?
Ooh, probably. So, as far as I know, Peter Lyons will be Mitch Kazmierek. We're hoping to get a couple of Queenslanders. So then Steve Gibb, who went over last year as well. So Mitch, Peter, and Steve went over last year to
Right.
play Legion. Steve came in the top 8, I think.
Nice.
And both Mitch and Peter were up there as well.
Cool.
And then there's going to be a few others. So I reckon hopefully we're going to get 6 to 8
Very good.
that are going to head over.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, we'll see how we go.
Excellent. All right, we'll see if we can get down there. Jace can't come, unfortunately, because it's a bad time for him and all things tax related. But
Yeah.
and just travel related is always bad for me because TSA doesn't like me. But or it's a love-hate relationship, I guess. So, but if I can
Bagged
get,
now.
yeah, if I think we might try by land this time. So we'll see how border agents goes. You know, I'm a trustworthy individual, but they never seem to think so. So, but yeah, no, that's the plan. So we'll see how the weekend goes, and we'll see what the future. I mean, I have between now and March, I guess. So. I don't think I'd just come down for a last chance because probably do other things, but we'll see how it all shakes out. So who knows? Maybe the invite will be valid and upheld, and we'll get somebody else there. So awesome. Well, Michael, thanks for coming out and doing the thing and talking.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All things Legion. Appreciate that. You'll should have some Lorcana arriving, so we'll chat a little bit about that. You know, and
Nice.
you know, steal cards from our kids. You know, it's fine. Yeah. You don't really
Borrow.
need that one.
Just
Yeah,
borrow.
but- yeah, exactly. Borrow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it'll be super fun. Jace, we're taking a week off. Are you going to with us to Saskatoon, or what's the scoop? Are you gonna play?
I will not be.
You
I will
will
not
not
be on Saturday. Nope.
Okay, fair enough. So Anthony and I will drive up amongst other people and see how it goes. I don't even know if it's a 2-day or 1 day or what it's supposed to be. So, I'll figure out the details sometime between now and Saturday. So, I probably will be playing Remnant, just FYI, because it's the only thing I've played in the last bit. So it's super fun, and probably we'll run into some Wookiees, and I'm not sure how it'll play against them, to be perfectly honest. So that's kind of scary prospect. So. Flutter's less scary, but Wookiees maybe more so. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know how many people will be running those new ones, but according to Travis, 2 people at the first weekend. So, sounds like people are already knocking down the doors of the new battle forces. So, cool.
Nice.
All right, fellas. Well, that's probably all I got. Unless you guys got any final thoughts or words of wisdom for the folks out there.
No, was
Very inspirational, by the way. Just excellent work there. So see what happens when I just stop dropping on it. All right, boys, I'm getting tired from carrying the cast. So going to sleep. Gonna go watch baseball now. The rest of the
There you
game
go.
that I failed to see, and we'll chat to everybody in the future. Don't be strangers too, by the way, Michael and Brian. You know, Friday night fights. You ever want to come hang out, do a little casting with us? You know, you can always use the extra voices. So. People are always, I would say, I would be remiss if I didn't say both. Bryant, people are always asking for where you are on Friday Night Fights because they like you on there. They like that Australian accent for sure. And then Michael, probably at least once every 2 weeks, I get somebody asking where the Wizard's at. So, you know, they'll get their glimpse here. But like I said, you guys are invited back anytime for sure. So,
Well, like you said, if not before, I'm sure I'll be back for Christmas. Somebody's got to
Excellent.
keep track of what you're
Yep.
giving away.
that's true.
Yeah.
You can lock me in for Christmas.
Okay, excellent. We'll all be back for the Christmas special. Cool. Awesome. All right, well, you guys have a great, whatever day of the week you were in, Bryant, and you're probably in the weekend at this point, so. And, yeah, and we'll chat to everybody soon. Jace, I'll probably see you before I'll see any of those guys, so. But we'll chat to you all
Oh,
later.
you bet.
All right, have a good night, guys.
Have a good one.
See you, everyone.
Cheers.